each other?
We can mute each other. I can drag your
we
volume
totally can mute each
I can
other.
drag your
Oh my
volume
God.
slider down. I can literally just drag your volume
Did
slider down.
I just mute
to
Polly for you
nothing.
too, Rhett?
No, you can't mute somebody for somebody else.
Oh, okay, just for me. Okay.
Just for you. So it's like, and the bummer is I can't mute anybody because I'm the only one recording. So like I have to listen to all the garbage that I don't want to hear about.
Pee pee poo poo butt butt farts.
But I want to hear about that.
If it was turning off for everybody, I thought that was...
That'd be great. That'd be a great way to fuck with
to
people.
play with.
It's like, oh, cool.
Yep.
John is talking about Thing again. John is talking about Fate. Boom.
I've had so much bullshit. I'm glad that Fate is still the touchstone.
My mind kind of goes to Sword Art Online now.
Oh, really? I mean, yeah, it is pretty bad, though, yeah.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
It
John, you
is!
love that fucking anime. You binged all those, 3 seasons?
3 whole seasons.
It was over 50 episodes. And that was in the last binge. It was basically all of Symphogear in one go.
It's like all of Soul Eater.
But,
all of Soul Eater in one go, but it was Sword Art Online instead.
Sword Art Eater.
I have carried that journey in my heart, and have returned to it in my heart space ever since so many times. Like when that final boss meme came around, and I was like, "Oh, I know mine." Boop.
And I immediately knew mine.
Oh my god.
Yep. Just constant touchstone is boop. Oh yeah, it's like Kirito. Boop.
There we go. Just plug it right in there. It's like a bad sword boys. That's your thing.
Ooh.
Hey, there's
That
a
was the
character in
crappy
East 9
version
for
of
him.
the thing that...
There is a character in East 9 for him. It's perfect. He's a bad sword boy. He's fucking terrible.
Yeah, and he has 2 swords.
He has 2 swords, and he's like the worst character.
Good.
It's fantastic.
Excellent.
He's so broody.
He is so angry. Just,
It's so bad. It's like, this is like the biggest John Thayer bait of a character ever.
it really is.
Oh, man. Good times.
Good times. Hey, new Hibiki.
So, hey, good news. Remember how I thought my window was leaking?
Yeah.
Guess what? It's not!
Oh.
We've had rain
Yay! Good
rain
news.
nonstop for like the last 2 or 3 days or so.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single leak. I think it was just like what it was. I think was since it was really cold and I keep that room really warm. I think the condensation on the window.
Oh my God.
The condensation was freezing and immediately melting, and I think that's what was happening. Because I've got that whole window kind of covered in towels and stuff to see if so that I can see if there's any drippage or anything. I've been bone dry ever since. So, hey, guess what? I don't probably have to buy a fucking $1,500 window.
Ugh. That's good.
Because I was just not going to buy a window at all. I was going to tell him, fucking brick it up. That's $650. Brick it up. I don't care. I don't want a window there.
Oh. All right. Blah, blah, blah.
Doing okay, John?
Blah.
Getting your pre-vocal, your pre-podcast vocal workout going?
Yeah. Shaking off some kind of weirdness that happened, like that, just kind of mental weirdness that like creeped in just like 15 minutes before recording, not because of the podcast, just like general weirdness, and I'm just like, shake that off. So that's where that's coming from.
Yeah, that's me the last 24 hours. All right, let's shake off the fucking weirdness.
Shake it the fuck off.
All right. We're feeling good though. We're laughing.
We have the safe space.
We have a safe space. We're
my
laughing.
safe.
We're having a good time. That's what we do here on the podcast.
You know what my safe space is?
What's your safe space?
It's talking about old Square RPGs.
Hey, I might have the podcast for you, John Thayer. It's called the Sockscast, episode 133. I hear that they're probably going to be having a conversation very similar to that on that episode of that particular podcast. Can you believe that? What a coincidence.
Ooh, I should listen.
You should. There's this guy on there. His name's John. You will fucking love him. He's so full of his own farts at all times. Just like, Jesus, this guy is coasting. He's coasting on his own ass fumes to the most ridiculous degree.
He sounds handsome and like he basically knows exactly what he's talking about, so it's okay that he's pretty smug and confident about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because he's just so right and
so right. Like nothing ever goes wrong.
Deserves it.
He's never wrong, you know. So yeah, it'll be perfect. You will find what you want in that podcast. I think, John. It'll be fantastic. Cool. How's everybody doing out there in podcast land? Welcome. Another fine episode.
Oh shoot, yeah. Let me open up the chat.
Open up the chat.
Look at these viewers.
We got so many viewers. We got so many listeners. We have you that downloaded this episode, the one person that does every week. We're here for you. What up, Dawn? How's it going? It's just Dawn. Oh, man. But yeah, we're going to get into some shenanigans today. I heard there's going to be some capers.
Excellent.
There's probably not going to be any shenanigans or capers. There's none of that.
Is caper kind of food also?
Yes, capers are kind of food. I don't believe that I have ever had capers, however. Not to my knowledge, anyway, unless that they were covertly snuck into a dish that I was eating. Poncho Smith might have the better perspective on capers, and if we may have accidentally eaten them.
I do not think I've ever eaten one of these. I'm looking it up.
I feel like I've had capers in something. I'm pretty sure I've had capers. That's my contribution to the caper discourse.
Okay. He thinks they put it in tartar sauce, and I don't eat tartar sauce, so I'm probably still caper free all these years later. They're little flower buds. They're sold in brine and pickles and olives. Okay. And if those are in tartar sauce, I'm safe.
Like pickled things.
Yeah. I'm not big on pickled things.
I got pickled beets in the fridge.
Oh, God, that's disgusting. That's terrible.
They're so good.
You just always find a way to ruin this podcast, and you just did it. Amazing. Amazing. Record time.
Like life.
To my immediate virtual right, he's a freak of nature, but we love him so. It's Rhett.
Hello.
Hey.
Can't do those Knives Out lyrics anymore, sorry.
No, I kind of outed myself there. Because
I said something.
Yeah, like that was
you just blew it up.
Yeah, that was the thing that I was going to do, is when I was starting with Game of the Year last year, I was just going to introduce Rhett for over the course of a year, just kind of sprinkling them in as just all using lyrics from Radiohead's song Knives Out. And I'd already gotten away with 2 of them.
I didn't even, maybe I noticed, maybe if you'd kept done it longer, I would have been eventually she keeps using Knives Out. But you definitely got the first 2 past me without me really thinking about it.
Yeah, because put your head down, and shove it in your mouth. That's just something I would say about you anyway.
The lyrics to that song are pretty amazing.
They're fantastic. It's fucking modern poetry. Tom York's a goddamn genius. Up until
actually retro poetry now.
Yeah. Oh no! Amnesiac was 2000. Oh no!
2?
Oh god! Oh god!
Yeah.
Oh god!
Is it 20?
Why am I thinking about this? That's not helping.
Sorry.
Oh no!
My bad.
God.
That's just been me for the last year of wow, thing I really like is turning 15 years old or 20 years old. Monica's a decade old.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Why does every fucking touchstone... Yeah?
I'm always here for the Polly and Rhett think about how old they are.
This is like a
podcast. It's like every other app.
The most unintended segment that we have, because everything is a touchstone for something we remember, and we're like, yeah, man, that was so cool. Phantasy Star Online was 2001.
Xenosaga turns 19 today.
Oh, God. I remember the morning of going to pick that game up still vividly, so I guess my memory is still good, because I remember being, like, I was the most stoked ever going that morning to pick that, like, the night before I stayed at my friend Roger's house, and I went over the next morning to pick that game up, and then I came home, it was just, like, 12 hours straight of Xenosaga, which, like, 9 of that was cutscenes. I'm here for it, goddammit! I love Xenosaga!
Oh my god, I can tell you this. A friend told me, John, I bet you $25 you will hate Xenosaga.
What?
I said, I'll fucking take you up on that bet. Because I was like, no.
I
think
don't.
you're wrong,
Triangle.
actually.
You like Xenogears too much.
I don't, like, I think that, like, I don't, we'll talk about it later, but, anyway, to my immediate,
But I absolutely took up the bet.
Oh, good. To my immediate virtual left, he is currently on the run and in hiding from the devs of Blossom Tales. It's John Thayer. Uh-oh, should I not have said that?
Hi.
Hey, John!
I don't think they can text search the podcast.
Not yet.
I was trying to will you. I was trying to will you into just like the secret you into using Xenogears lyrics.
Oh no. Is that why you were posting? Is that why?
That was part of that was part of the secreting, but mostly I just earnestly wanted to
post them, but you were like trying to fish for an intro. Nah, like you getting mass followed by all of the complete dev team of Blossom Tales because you dared to mention their video game once in a tweet. Oh boy! Like I'm waiting.
Blossom Tale, comparable to Minute, Super Mario Odyssey, and the Breath of the Wild.
That sounds like good company to be in.
Yeah, I don't have to click through this tweet to see what it's referencing.
Someone else in the thread definitely said this is. Definitely said something overtly nasty about it while also saying the name in full. So I think the jig's up.
Oh no!
Even if they didn't expand it.
Oh, like those people that like name search themselves or their game and then just automatically follow or try to follow, and yeah, it's real.
No,
weird.
I just got liked. I didn't get followed.
Oh, you didn't get followed?
But it is a weird vibe.
Okay, that would have been the weird one. Like I thought that they were following you. I thought that they were following you. That would have been like, okay.
Just liking. Just, hey, I see this tweet. Thank you.
I see it.
Thank you for this.
Said
I'm sorry.
You put letters in a configuration that managed to spell out the name of the video game that I worked 10 whole years on.
Hey, Polly,
I'm only ever going to name things like nondescript one-word titles so I can never become this person.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of 10 years and game, Hunters also turns 10 this year.
Oh, God.
That one's a lot. Yeah, I guess technically it's next month. It's
already,
March.
yeah, like, that will have already happened. Oh, man. Got 2 of them this episode. 2, me and Rhett are 2 fucking old segments. Fantastic.
Yep. And I'm as sprightly and cherubic as ever.
Yep. All right, so we have a podcast where we talk about video games and such, right? That what we do on here? Sometimes we do that. I'll get us started.
Yes.
Let's do it! All right, we're going to have the rare
Poly intro.
The rare Poly start. This never happens. All right, so I played a little game that I think that we've all kind of been excited to play for probably the last couple of years now, ever since we played the previous game, and we all thought, boy, that was pretty incredible. And it, ended
a
up
game of the decade.
Yeah, it ended up in a pretty respectable position on the game of the decade list, I believe. So, yeah, I played East 9 Monstrum Nox.
Great game.
Ooh.
This is it's a video game in the East series.
It's the 9th one.
It's the 9th one. It's the 10th one, technically.
Oh, right.
Because Origin. East Origin exists. And yeah.
I mean, if you count the remakes, it's probably like 15 or something.
Yeah, you got
And there's 3 East 4s.
There's 3 East 4s. Yeah, so
2 3s.
I'm just kind of leapfrogging off of where Rhett started this conversation a few weeks ago. About where were you when we were Like, about how far in were you when we got
Honestly, I was probably on like chapter 4 or something.
Okay.
I wasn't that in depth yet.
Yeah. I was like, I started this probably like a day or so after we. What was it like?
I think it was
like
a
week and a day or so, because like Iffy kind of gave up on Nisa because they fucked her over entirely and never got her replacement. So I'm going to make this a non-endorsement of dealing with Nisa directly, since they fucked my best friend out of her game.
Aww.
And
yeah.
So fuck them.
She bought the like super deluxe
edition. So
and then the disc didn't work.
Yeah. So she had to end up buying it digitally. But I didn't play the game because I was gonna, doing the friend thing of just like, you know what, you can't play it, and of all the people I feel deserve to play this game. So then I played Ryza, and so it ended up being a good experience. But I finally got around to playing this game. It left a real bad first impression. I cannot, man, this game, I immediately bounced off of it. Just like the setting, wasn't feeling it. Like I feel like they were going for like Gothic Paris, I guess is kind of what they're going for, and it just kind of feels more like a drab, boring city that's really brown.
It's really, really drab.
Oh, there's a lot of brown in this game. There's so much brown.
Maybe my TV's weird. To me, the color of this game is gray.
Like, it's gray and everything's bloomed out really bad. Like, the bloom was really kind of there in East 8, but this game feels really bloomed out to me. It's
compared to, like, Twilight Princess, this is nothing, I think.
Okay, you've got a fucking point
that
there.
That generation of consoles, like...
But yeah, like, this game did not leave a great first impression. I think it's because, like, I don't like how Adol feels in this game. Something about his moveset just does not click for me, and I don't know why. Because it's really not super different from 8. Because I went back and I played a bit of 8 to kind of compare.
Yeah.
And his movements and everything feel very similar, but there's like this slight... There's a bit more looseness to 8. And he feels a little more chunky. And I don't want this to kind of like come across as I don't like this game because it's not East 8. That's not where but that has to kind of be my touchstone, because a lot of stuff in this game feels like a big step back from that game. Like, it feels almost like a purposeful about face.
I absolutely agree on that. Where it seems like on a technical level, a lot of stuff is carried over, like, but like theme wise and like the setting, they just went as far in the other direction as they could have on purpose.
Yeah. Like, everything feels like a complete, like, whereas, you had this really cool found family story in East 8 that they really drilled down into. You don't really feel as connected to the characters and the city in this game. It's just like, it's a big city. There are a lot of NPCs you don't give a shit about.
I think that might be a little bit you. I think that part, I think, was kind of the same for me in both games.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, I guess I did kind of get into exploring the city a bit, because I did find all of the graffiti and the blue feathers.
I can't believe it's amazing how many people end up with that get all the blue feathers achievement. Like,
because
it's something that's still fun about it.
It's over. Like, you finish doing it halfway through the game.
And there's that, yeah.
Like they didn't space this stuff out enough to where that exploring the city feels a little more worthwhile. It's just like by chapter 6 I was done. Like, with both the graffiti and the blue feathers. So it was like, okay, the other thing that I have to do now is just go, maybe go look for treasure chests that have crafting items in them. Uh-oh, guess what? We broke the crafting system.
Yeah.
We made it pointless. We just give you a lot of money now, and the very first special item we give you that you can equip gives you 20% more gold from everything. So you never need money in this game. You never need to upgrade a thing.
Yeah. The upgrades are useless. I actually didn't use the 20% money thing because I always had the HP regen on.
You can get extra slots.
Yeah,
like I ended up with
almost never.
I had 5 slots at the end, so it was just like.
Really, I think I only had 4.
I think I had 5. I'll have to check, but Yeah, like they made crafting pointless because like the only time you'll use it is for another part of the game, which we'll talk about momentarily. But yeah, like you can like my problem is it's like they could have made upgrading your weapons with materials work if they had just been like, okay, let's say you start with a rusty sword and then you upgrade it to a +1, +2, and then when you get to the third, you upgrade to the next tier. That's how E8s worked. Okay, but like with this one, you can just buy the next tier. And there's really no point in upgrading to +1 or +2 because what's +20 strength in this video game when the numbers are already high enough that it's just like, what is that giving me? I feel no difference here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the thing is, they could have made this work if you could have just
which is very unease.
Yeah, like if you could have just kept your upgrade chain going like Ys 8, but they would have given you extra bonuses for taking that route. So if you do upgrade to the next one, there's like a permanent bonus that you can keep on the next tier of weapons when you craft that. So it'll be better than the one that you could buy, right? That would incentivize this whole crafting system, but as it is, it's just you can +1 or +2 your items for no fucking point. Like for no fucking reason at all. You can't do anything to your armor anymore. It's just kind of a real pointless system unless you want to do a bunch of raid battles. Who likes raids? Who liked the raid portion of Ys 8?
I think I liked it more in this than I did in 8.
Really?
Actually,
that's weird to me.
Okay.
They start because I don't know. They're very chaotic and loud, but like by the end, they started getting like pretty difficult. So I was like, okay, I'm here for this.
See, like this... I think what killed them for me is that you're just fighting the same types of enemies in them every time.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's just like, oh, it's these same enemies that I've been fighting all game, but their numbers are kind of bigger now.
The numbers get bigger,
and it's just like. I think that the designs are really boring, and like the Grimwald Nox area is just kind of like it's just kind of like this mishmash of colors that all run together, so it's not really striking or interesting.
Oh, it is just like, hey, we took an area from the main game and just made it even more gray and brown.
Yeah,
like just literally took all the color out and maybe have a red sky.
Yeah, like it's yeah, so like this game has a lot of forced mandatory raid battles. Like you have to do them to continue. If you want to be able to explore all the city, you've got to hunt down the optional ones, which thankfully it's not hard to do. Like I don't think I ever had to stop and grind for Nox. If you just do the side quests, you get enough Nox to open them all. So thankfully because like there are these Nox points all over the city that you can run into and just spawn these instant fights, and they're really bad because everything in the city runs at like 15 frames a second.
Yeah, the random battles in town are obnoxious.
Yeah, like there's a few optional Nox missions that take place in town, like the one in the cathedral specifically, where like the frame rate just fucking tanks. And that one took me like 2 or 3 tries to do because it's the one where you can't actually kill the boss because it's like level 90, so you have to go destroy all the crystals instead. Yeah, like that one was just like a pain in the ass because like the frame rate kept fucking me over. I think what do you think of the character writing in this one, Rhett?
See, this is where I think we really diverge. I still liked all the characters a lot.
I think that they did a good job on a couple of them. There's a couple of them I really, really like, and I think Renegade in particular is a really good character. I like what they did with him.
Yeah.
Raging Bull, she's got a nice little story too. Not Hawk. He's miserable. He's terrible.
Who?
Hawk.
Oh,
he's awful.
Hawk. Okay,
he's awful.
He's a bad boy.
He's the bad boy. He's Two Sword Boy. John will love him.
Yeah.
I think that like a lot of this game's kind of problem with the writing is, at least in like quests and characters and stuff, is that like a lot of it feels like paint by numbers Falcom for backstories, where it's like, okay, you've done this. I know what this backstory is going to be.
I definitely felt that a bit with Hawk.
Yeah.
Like, especially where it's like, oh, okay. And I think this is where my baggage or lack of helps because I haven't played any of the Cold Steel games.
Yeah, Hawk is a very specific character from another game.
Oh, interesting.
Just done way worse.
Okay, see that I can believe you on, but like, yeah. So like when they're using these tropes over and over again, maybe having not played, 5 additional Trails games is helping me here.
Yeah, like I definitely think that like.
Do you remember? Do you remember how good Hummel was in Ys 8? Where his backstory is revealed. And
It's so good.
He's like, I'm just here to deliver this package, which is what even was it? Like
Pickles.
A jar of pickles.
Jar
or something?
of pickles.
Yes.
I was
I'm a
thinking about
transporter. I'll transport anything. Contraband, dead bodies. It's all the same to me.
I was thinking about Ys 8
Looked
this
up a
week because of
tagline.
this game, and swear on my life I could not I remember that character existed. I could not remember anything else about him.
He's also voiced by Sean Chiplock, our good friend Sonic Mega.
Oh, good. I think that's the great joke about him is that he's so mysterious, and then he's just extremely straightforward. Actually,
Yeah, it's really good.
the mail always goes through.
Yeah. It's played so straight. It's so good. Okay, but despite my negative criticisms, they stop here. The mobility and the verticality of this game, like they're like the strongest features, and they need to maintain that going forward. I think if they're going to stay with this kind of system, like be it party or otherwise, if they're going to keep playing with this kind of like the way these games feel right now, that you can't make another game and not have these movement options.
Or like, obviously they couldn't do it story-wise. Like, it wouldn't make sense for Adol's just like, I've got wings now.
No, that would be real weird.
But like, they can definitely do like, grappling hook or some sort of equipment.
Yeah, like they need to have that stuff back.
It's very fun.
A lot of really good boss fights in this game. A couple are breathtakingly cool. A couple of them were just like when I got there and I saw like what they were hinting to. They pointed at a mural, right? Remember when they pointed at a mural and you're like, that's... And I like one of Adol's reactions is just ... I
had so much trouble with that one because I think they kind of want you to use Renegade because it's his chapter.
Yeah.
And I insisted on using Raging Bull.
I did the same! It was hard.
So I'm just like, I'm just going to throw myself into this hitbox and pray, and then it did not
works.
work the first one. No, I died on that one.
Oh, yeah. This game is actually way harder on hard, by the way. I think that this game's hard is way harder than 8. I got my shit kicked in so many times. Like I could only take 2 or 3 hits. I didn't go crazy. I didn't go crazy like you and dump all of my elixirs into anybody. I just played everything straight.
It's funny that for me in like chapter 3, I pumped it up to Nightmare.
Oh,
because I thought it was too easy.
Huh. For the
So for what it's worth, instead of dying in 2 or 3 hits, that basically meant I died in 1 or 2 hits.
Oh, jeez. Like, see, some of that stuff would like drive me nuts in Grimwald Noxes, though, because I feel like a lot of hits in those areas just kind of fucking come from out of nowhere.
Yeah, I feel like the damage was way reduced in those where I could actually tank for a little bit because it is kind of chaotic, but the bosses were just like, oh god, yeah, here's like a 2,000 HP hit. You're
done.
Heal.
You're done.
Yeah. You're done. I had some random enemies on the field like do a big charge up swing, and I screwed up the parry, and they just hit you for like 3,000. It's just like and at a time when I have like 1,000 HP, it's like you're done.
Like you just literally turned that poor girl into paste. Krisha is just a grease stain on the ground.
I dumped all my HP stuff into her, and at the very end of the game, they let you craft those HP plus 100 potions.
Yep.
So I got 7 more, and I still put them all on her. So she had like 5,500 HP. I think Adol had like 3,800.
Oh my god! Yeah. By the time I got to the end, I think Adol was like 5 levels behind everybody else because my team was Doll, Raging Bull, and White Cat.
Yeah.
And I just used them for most of the game.
Yeah. I had the similar party for most of it. I kicked out Doll at the end because I wanted to go back to Adol.
Oh. I put him in for the final boss fight. Just, I don't know. It felt...
Just in case. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like I was probably going to have to. I felt like they were going to force me to, so I went through the final dungeon with Adol and kind of tried to get him caught up, which it didn't take that long. Leveling in this game is very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So you still got that.
It's got a Falcamas final dungeon.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, it's Falcom final dungeon. Like, yeah. You're here. You're home. Enjoy it.
This game has a big tracker of like how much of the map you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you get to the end and you're just like, why is there still so much left? And then the last dungeon is like 10%.
Yeah.
Of the entire game.
Of the entire game, yeah. It's like the global
all other
map
dungeons
counter.
and the town and, other stuff.
Yeah. I also think that the last 5 hours of that story are on fucking fire.
Oh, good, yes.
Yeah, it's
good.
like that game's got an incredible like back end. Like when all of everything happens at the end of a certain chapter, you will not want to put the controller down. You will not want to put the controller down. They pull some shit in this game that just like, oh my god, because it's ballsy. Like they make a couple of ballsy moves that really fucking blew me away.
It's funny you say you won't be able to put the controller down.
Mm-hmm.
I DM'd John the exact opposite thing where I just messaged him like, I'm crying too much. I'm too mentally exhausted to continue. I have to put the controller down.
Oh no!
I like as soon as it said final chapter, I like immediately saved and quit and went to bed.
Yeah, I actually did the same thing. I got to the final chapter the next morning, and I had to stop. So, but yeah, like that game's the end of that game goes real hard. It's very, very good. The things they spend like the preceding 40 hours setting up, they do it very well when they need to kind of pull back the curtain on what's going on. I hate the fact that like when I was kind of doing the side quest chunk in this game, like there was a point where I was just like, if the side quest didn't involve a main character or somebody that I cared about, I was literally start, skip cutscene, start, skip cutscene. Yep, not even sit there and smash through it. Just start, skip cutscene, give me the waypoint. I know where to go. Tell me what to do. Let's go. Because I
just don't remember that many that were.
They were
not actually tied into the plot and somehow.
I ran into like a big stretch of just kind of these are not very interesting.
There's one, I can't say which it is because it's super relevant, but it's like kind of the most mundane quest, and then by the end of the game you're like,
oh my god. yeah, that's good shit there. But I mean, good final thoughts. I'll go first. I think that this game's just kind of a miss for me. It's not a bad game. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's bad. It's just it's not a case. And again, I don't want it to seem like a case of me not liking it because it's not Ys 8. But like when everything feels like a very pronounced step back from Ys 8, those comparisons are hard to not make.
Because they're they play so similar. It's kind of like Origin and Oath and Felghana, where it's like, hey, we made the same game again.
Yeah. What about you, Rhett? What are your kind of final thoughts coming away from this game?
So, I agree with you on a lot of things. I think this game is small to large step back in like every area from Ys 8, except for the movement options, which are all new, and it's fun, but it doesn't really. I feel like they actually could have done more in the dungeons with a lot of the mobility stuff.
Yeah, I don't know whether they can't because maybe their engine isn't advanced enough, or if they didn't think that people would like that. But I was kind of hoping the dungeons would be more puzzly because you had a lot of puzzly moments in Donna's dungeon in Ys 8. And I was kind of hoping that like there would be more of that, and they do some fun stuff, but a lot of it kind of just ends up being find the way around, like, so you can't wall run up this wall because there's a lip. Find the way to find a way to fly to somewhere else, and so you can get to the top. everywhere. There's
the number of
lips.
the number of lips in this game are fucking insane.
There's a person that literally had to sit there on every map looking at every wall that you could run up and say, I need to put a lip here so you can't wall run up it. I need to put a wall here so you can't wall run up it. I need to put a lip here. I need to put a lip here. And it's so annoying because they put so many treasure chests on fucking pillars like that where it's just like, nope, you're not running up this pillar to get this chest. You've got to take some long-ass convoluted path to get it.
As soon as the first time you get to this one big open area and I just look at all the walls and they're just all
They're
kind
all
of
lipped! Fuck off!
Just like, oh, okay, I see exactly what we're doing here. No flying, no running. Just play it like regular ease.
Yeah. Just kind of wish they had done more puzzle-wise with that stuff.
Yeah. But it is fun. Like, I'm just saying, it's the one area I do not think, hey, this is a significant step back from Ys 8.
Yeah, like that wall run feels good. Yeah. That glide feels super good.
The glide is kind of the MVP for me.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like, it's kind of weird. There's the grapple is fine, but then as soon as you get the flying, it's like kind of whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, you only grapple when you absolutely have to, and that's the only option.
Yeah. I wish the grapple had more use in combat.
Yeah, you can grapple. Because they teach you that at the start, that you can use Adol's Crimson Line to, like, pull yourself closer to enemies, but I never found a point to using it.
Yeah. There's like literally the same move in Sekiro where you can grapple point onto a boss to pull yourself towards them quicker.
Yeah.
But in this, it's just kind of useless because you run so fast. Like, am I really going to suffer the half-second kind of delay switching out of it or just walk up to the boss and attack them?
Yeah.
So, like, I understand being disappointed by this game because it is a step back from Ys 8 in almost every way. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like Death by 1,000 Cuts where, like, every little thing that bugs you can kind of pile up.
Yeah.
And yet, I still had a fucking amazing time with this entire game.
That's good.
Because I was just, I don't know, maybe it's... This one reminds me a lot of Trails Zero because it is so focused on the one setting and getting to know your team of characters for the entire game. Because, like, you had asked me earlier, like, when you were about 2/3 through, like, hey, when is the plot going to start?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, but the entire game is the plot, you know? Like, it's just kind of a different... It's very kind of slice of lifey in a weird way of just like, hey, here's just character arcs.
Like, it's the same way that they handle Trails in the Sky SC, where they're introducing enforcers every chapter.
Yeah.
And you just kind of, okay, we're going to be doing this. Maybe this game would have fared better had I not, like, plowed through it in the way that I did. You know, doing
I went
2 chapters a day.
Slowly.
Like, I did like 2 chapters a day or something. Like, I was just like, I had nothing else going on. And it was just like, all right, we're just going to play the video game.
Yeah, I was telling John, like, I have 80 hours in this game or something.
Jesus.
I'm going so goddamn slow. Yeah. I was doing, like, chapter every 2 days.
Wow. Like, I did... Like, I've got, like, 49 and a half hours?
I went very slow. I mean, I idle a lot and just listen to the music and stuff. But...
Oh, yeah. Look, there's game's got bangers.
Yeah, the music is still great.
Yeah.
I think Ys 8 was also, you know...
better in that regard.
Yeah, just a little bit better.
Just a little bit. Like, I don't think that there are moments in Ys 9's soundtrack that hit me in the way some of the tracks like Ys 8 do.
Yeah.
But this game, damn, still some good fucking ass tunes.
There's the moment right before the final dungeon where I was like, oh, I am turning the volume
up
here.
Yes! Know exactly what you're talking about.
I literally went into the options and was like, hey, character voices, can you get the fuck out of here?
Get out of here. Yep.
When all 6 characters are yelling their attack names constantly, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't believe I waited all game to do that.
Yeah, it's a little much. Well, yeah.
So yeah, I really like this game. It's weird because, like, the setting sucks, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it does.
But it's like, it's very deliberate, I think. And it's like, it's kind of a bold move for a game to do that. Because I think of how it ties into the story of this town and, like, what the citizens are going through. Mm-hmm. I think it is important that this town is just very gray and boring.
Yeah, like, I get it. I think that, like, Danganronpa V3 does something very similar, where it's, like, it's doing something on purpose, and you know that maybe it's trying to get on your nerves a little bit.
Because when you actually think of it, it's Adol goes to a new town, and that town's defining feature is a large prison.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a particularly happy game if you really think about
it's
like,
really not. We live in a fucking prison city.
Yeah. Like, there's just
Kislev Arc, the video game.
Yeah. Yes. I get that.
Sorry, continue, Rhett.
there's just kind of a sadness to this whole game that is a little understated. Like, it's not really super in your face a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I think, like, it does seem to kind of intentionally wear you down with how gray and kind of monotonous everything is. Mm-hmm. And then, like, none of the dungeons are really even that impressive either. Like, they really kind of seem to go out of their way to not be the wild, fantastical adventure that Ys 8 was.
Yeah, it's very understated to the point of just almost just, like, mind-numbing at points.
Yeah. But I still really like the game. Like, the end of the last few chapters, when they fucking go for it. Like, they spend like the whole game promising that one reveal is going to blow your mind, and then it does.
And it fucking does! There's no way. It's not going... Fucking shit. It's so good.
Yes, and then the ending when, you know, things are wrapping up and you're saying goodbye to everyone.
Oh, man.
Total wreck. Oh. Did you find that trio again in the epilogue?
Yep.
I was so happy that they were there.
Yeah. Like, I'm so glad that story ended up the way that it did.
Yeah, they give everyone an arc.
Yeah.
And, like, that journal is updating till, like, literally a few steps from the exit gate.
Yep.
It's kind of... So, like, 100% ending this game feels like a nightmare because you would just have to have a guide.
Yeah,
Because, like, there's some stuff that you can miss just by not talking to a character in a certain chapter.
Like, I missed one side quest, and I don't know how I missed it.
I missed 2, I think. Maybe I missed 3 by the end, because one of them was in, like, chapter 8, and I see it off there on the map, and I'm like... But I don't have that area yet. So you just want me to leave this dungeon and go grind, and I didn't. And then that chapter
I think that's the one I missed too. Was it the one about like inscriptions?
Yep,
that's the one I missed.
Yeah, because I went back to that area in chapter 9, and they were like, looks like somebody was here recently.
Yeah,
like they find ways to write around the quest that you miss.
Yeah,
because like there's one of them where it's like, somebody new has joined the tavern. Mm-hmm. In spite of the fact that I had not done their quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a great game.
Nice.
But it has issues, for sure.
Yeah, like, if I'm gonna have to recommend an Ys game, it's not gonna be 9.
I mean, yeah, I think 8 kind of towers above the others in the series for me, but this is probably my second favorite, pretty closely. But I also like Celceta. I'm just into party-based Ys, honestly.
You just kind of hear all like for that entire like man, Celceta. Like, this feels like Celceta in Origin to me, where it's just like it's the funny thing is it's a miss.
Celceta I really liked. Origin is the one I completely bounced off of because of the setting.
Yeah,
I like Origin,
so maybe you'll like this one. Hopefully,
yeah. Like I could see this one clicking.
For me, it's just like, in spite of like everything gameplay wise being a step back, because I really like the story in this, I was totally fine. Which is kind of similar with Celceta, where it's like, this is Ys 8 prototype, but I still like the story, so it's fine.
There you go. And Griselda is a great character to have, you know, to interact with in Celceta anyway. So
yeah,
cool. So I guess that's Ys 9.
I'm just play this.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Yeah,
John.
I'm sorry, even though all three of us pre-ordered it.
Yep.
You two have played it to completion. Mm-hmm. I have not started it.
You have not started it. You've been up to some other things, though. I do understand, John. What else have you been up to?
Yeah.
Now that since you're not playing Ys 9, the video game that we were all going to play day one, and then it just kind of ended up a giant clusterfuck.
This was supposed to be the month of E9.
It was supposed to be the month of E9.
It's supposed to be the month of East 9. Well, I've got a number of little things, and then one big fat thing, and I think one of the little things is more ease. So I think let's do the big fat thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait.
Yeah, we can circle back around to ease.
Circle back around.
But the big fat thing is that I finished Xenogears.
Woo! Oh man, that's a big one.
Is a big one. Is a big one. So to refresh, the deal was that I finished Xenoblade, and I liked it so much and was so moved by it that I was like, fuck, I need more of this. I know I just spent a month playing this 50-hour RPG, but I really want more of this. I'm going to start Xenogears right now. And then I did. And that was a mistake.
Oh no, yeah. This did not. It was not kind. It was not a kind experience.
It was a bad play. Is jumping straight from Xenoblade into Xenogears.
These are two different things. Two different beasts.
But very large ones as well.
Yes.
It's mostly just that they're very big. It was not like I played Xenogears and was like, oh, I wish it was more like Xenoblade, or vice versa. It was just, these are two very long RPGs that are pretty dense.
Yeah. A lot going on.
And my arc with it, I played the first 10 to 12 hours, had a good time, was feeling it, vibing. I hit that prison section, and it's basically just that, the game is just kind of kicking into gear. Yeah. It's a pretty
gear.
It goes right away at the start. It goes right away at the start, I guess, with the village explodes immediately.
But as JRPGs tend to go, burn the village.
As JRPGs tend to go, but
burn the village. Your protagonist becomes a suicidal wreck. You know how RPGs start.
But it really feels like it gets going at that first kind of season finale bit where Ellie's freaking out and having a meltdown flashback and fighting Faye, and then everybody, and on the other side of the mountain all these other people are fighting this giant war, and then suddenly this new gear shows up and just decimates everybody after this big boss fight, and it's it feels like a culmination in the same way as classic Square RPG.
Oh yeah.
Yes. It feels like in the same ballpark as the big moments in FF6 or FF7 or Chrono Trigger. And it gets there, it gets to that point, and then it just stops. It's just the momentum just goes.
It grinds to a fucking halt. You can hear the brakes scratching against metal. It's disgusting.
And it's still a pretty slow game with long dungeons with lots of slow fights. The cave dungeon with Bart is 2 fucking hours early on. And I'm just I'm feeling it, but I'm not that feeling it.
You're not really feeling it.
I knew somebody had to do the rhyme joke.
So I get to that point where Faye wakes up, everybody else is gone, and he is stuck in prison. And now you have to explore this large prison. And then ultimately there's a tournament arc where you fight for your freedom, and you go through a very monotonous series of mech fights with different characters you don't care about.
Yeah.
And it, as you go through, and then there's a 2-hour sewer dungeon stuck right in the middle of it with a murder mystery plot that goes nowhere.
Oh God! The
So
fucking
you spend
Red Rum sewer dungeon. Jesus Christ!
You spend 8 or 9 hours in Kislev, and it explodes at the end. So ultimately, fucking nothing from that whole chunk matters.
Doesn't fucking
anything.
Shit.
It's nothing. Rico's introduced, and then he gets you hear some stuff about his sad backstory, and it never comes up again.
Yeah, Rico is just
nothing.
Such a throwaway character.
Which is so sad because he's great. He's enjoyable.
Yeah.
But they just do nothing with him. And after that, you have a really nice scene with Ellie on the ocean where you're stuck together, and then they talk about life while looking at the moon. And it's not sappy. It feels real and cool, and I'm like, oh shit, maybe I'm here for this.
We're turning a corner. We're turning a corner.
And then I put the game down for like a month. Also, at the start of the prison section, I put the game down for like a month, and when I came back to it, I was still like, ugh. And that was the point where I just picked up a guide and was just like, let's just get through this as fast as possible.
Yeah, and that's still like 8 hours.
And it was still like 8 hours. Like with a map, the sewer dungeon was like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's painful. And then I just kept doing that. I just kept guiding my way through it, which just sucks a lot of the joy, I think, out of playing an RPG.
Yeah, for sure.
You're just like, what's the next? Well, all right, what are the next 3 bosses? What do I need to be geared up for them? And then you're just like going through the motions of fighting this cool set piece.
Yeah.
And then right after that really nice scene and the fun stuff on the Thames with the captain, the "We are the men of
the sea."
The sea.
Oh my god, you nerds!
Which is very good. Rhett doesn't get it because he isn't a man
of the sea.
The sea. They do it like 10 times, Rhett. It's great.
And they do dramatic camera cuts every single time.
I've technically played up to this point of the game and still don't remember this. I do remember prison because it was miserable.
Yep. You're supposed to like that. You're supposed. It's very deliberately purposefully boring, right? It's a prison.
Yeah, it's art. Don't you get it, Rick? Oh. No, it doesn't work because it doesn't work as this is art thing because the prison has fuck all to do with the rest of the
Yeah.
I saw one person sincerely making
it's so
that
inconsequential.
Do you think when they were
consequential?
Do you think when they were wrapping up, they were like, "Well, how come we finished this part but not disc 2?"
Whoops! Because they're making it as they go along, like all of these games. They were just
we are flying by the seat of our pants.
I always think that's how every indie game is made, but I have to think that's not actually how studio games are made.
This game has a very this game. A lot of this game has a buy your ass kind of feel to it.
That's all these old games. I feel like that's true of like most of the Final Fantasies. I feel like that's true of
God.
It's like, oh, hey, sorry, dog. We already made this dungeon. You got to use it.
We got to use it. Bring the characters here for some reason. It's a tournament arc. It's a prison and a tournament arc. It'll be great. Everybody will love it.
We're going to the moon.
We're going to the moon.
We're all from the same orphanage.
Yeah.
Because of Guardian Force magic. It's silly. It's some bullshit. But that is also not unique to Xenogears bullshit.
No.
That is a Squaresoft experience package.
Yep. That's just part of the plan when you sign up.
Mm-hmm. And right after that, I'm just going through the game. I hope this is okay because it's important. I feel that you get the sense of my emotional connection
the whole
to this game as I moved along.
I mean, we let you do an entire Ocarina of Time Let's Play in just in monologue form once. I see no reason why not.
God, that one is. God, that one's still infamous. But then, like, the next 5 hours are all this stuff with Billy and his dad and the church, the church has been barely mentioned up to this point, if mentioned at all, and suddenly we're having this big conflict with it. And that the thing is, the prison arc, it explodes at the end in a way that's pretty pleasing.
Yeah.
The Billy arc just ends with like a wet fart.
The biggest
where
wet
it's just
fart.
like. And then Billy shoots a gun where the bullet is his dad, and his dad is sacrificing himself to be the bullet of this mech gun that's going to save everything.
It's so dumb.
It's like a tragic, sad moment. But then, wait, no! The dad's alive!
He's still alive. It's fine. It's so dumb.
And we're done! That's it! We're moving on!
That's it.
Billy's not going to matter again, don't worry.
Billy's story no longer matters to the rest of this game.
He is done.
Again, I asked, why did they finish this part?
So that's where the game has completely lost me at this point. I am saying this is I am like, okay, this is kind of bad. I'm just gonna suffer through it slowly. Go ahead.
How far is this from the Tower of Babel?
That's the next chunk.
Yeah,
because that is where. So that is where the game lost me, and then I actually did stop playing it at Tower of Babel.
Aww.
Which is weird because Tower of Babel is super baby easy, and you can actually.
Okay,
I just did the
but
whole
I'm
thing
saying
without
I
falling.
was so fucking checked out by that point
Okay,
because of everything preceding.
that's fair because this is all this that stuff.
Again, you had the prison arc and the Billy arc right back to back. It doesn't do that game many favors.
Yeah, and that's like a 10 to 15 hour chunk of video game.
Yeah.
Which isn't great.
No.
So, Tower of Babel, I'm like, actually pretty fucking dope dungeon. And it's kind of pulling me back in a little. It's kind of pulling me back in a little bit. After that is Shavat.
Oh yeah, that's when the game starts getting real good.
Cool. It's just like the thing, Rhett, is that there are two Zeals in this game. One of them's kind of ambiguously good, and one of them is pretty much evil. And Shavat is the good Zeal, and you get there and you talk to everybody and kind of forge an alliance with the good Zeal.
I mean, the music is even reminiscent of Zeal.
Oh yeah, they're aping that feel, that vibe. Honestly, it's sort of like you start off the game as not realizing you're the Earthbound ones from Chrono Trigger. Like, you are pawns, toys for these giant floating city countries that have so much more advanced technology than you and don't really respect you as nations or as lives.
You are lambs.
You are lambs for us to shepherd. And that facet of the story was actually very interesting to me. How someone just kind of pointed out this read of like, it starts off with this big conflict between Ave and Kislev, and you think that's going to be the whole game. But then 10 hours in, it's like, actually, these countries are pretty inconsequential compared to the giant colonial forces that actually pull the strings of all of our lives.
Yeah, it's a really cool twist.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I was at it for a little bit. I was like, why are there two fucking Zeals? Why is this game just throwing so much bullshit at me? This isn't going to go anywhere. This isn't purposeful. There's nothing going on here I need to pay attention to. I'm so done. And for some reason, I'm going to keep playing anyway. And then I put the game down for like 2 months. And then I picked it back up. And then I got through you got to go to 3 different places on the world map to blow up the gate generators so you can open the way to Solaris. I was like, okay. And I hit a boss that was really hard at this point. And I was like, pound nails through my fingers. Let's get through this. And then I did. And then I got to Solaris. And then I was like, let's put away the guide for a bit. Just put away the guide for the bit. See how that feels. Just see how it feels for just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
Just for a little while. And then I played through like the last 8 hours of Disc 1. And then I played through the whole rest of the game. Pretty much in one week spurt.
Yeah, you were cruising.
I had a lot more fun. And I just kind of started vibing again.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder how much more fun I would have had if I hadn't just... It's like if you just believe it's good early on, then you can just have more fun with it.
I get that. I have a level of trust with a game, and when it loses that, it's really hard to keep going. Like, because you start every game believing it's going to be good because that's why you're playing it. So when it starts to lose you, it can be rough. And I think guide or no guide, that prison and stuff, those moments in this game sound like they're going to lose you either way.
They're just bad. They're not good, unfortunately.
Like, even Paul isn't defending it.
Like, I can't defend it because I think that is the worst part of the game. Like, that 15-hour stretch, but you like, if you know the game, you can whittle that down to, like, maybe 3 to 5 hours. But if you are playing casually, that is going to be a 10 to 15-hour ordeal, and it is a bad fucking part of the game.
It's just not playing to the strengths.
No, not at all.
There's very little relationship stuff. It's mostly focused on characters that are not going to matter.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't.
The game
you
is
don't
not
know.
good. Go ahead.
You don't know because you haven't played it before if the game is going to reward getting to the end.
Exactly.
At that point.
Yeah, and once you lose that trust, it just makes it so hard to care.
Yeah.
But somehow, I just kind of was like, fuck it, let's try having fun again, because it had been 6 months, and I was like, I was like feeling better about it. And I just cruised to the end of the game.
Yeah.
The end of disc 1 is fucking buck wild.
God,
awesome.
that game
It's
just
extremely good.
The end of that disc goes so fucking hard.
It's so fucking good. And it's the attack on Solaris and also just existing in the society of Solaris, which is very interesting.
It's so neat. It's very interesting.
It's very class stratified, which is something you didn't see before, which is that these people that are up in the sky and think they're superior to everyone, even in that culture, everybody is
in a class,
looking down on each other, looking up to another people, right up to the ruling class. Also, the whole time, this whole game, it is constantly flashing back and forth between like 6 sets of villains, and they're all just infighting the whole time. and fucking like most of the villains wind up killing each other instead of you killing them.
It's really satisfying. The trash just takes itself out.
Which is, it's so dope. And that was another thing where it was lost me. I was just like, there are so many fucking villains. I don't understand what's going on. But right when I had gotten there, it had basically finished introducing villains, and at that point, the way it played out all of them was very satisfying.
Yeah, it's not hard to follow. Kind of once you get like the factions kind of settled in your brain a little bit, you're just like, okay, I know why Shakan is here, what he's doing. I know who Krellian is. I know what Kane's doing.
And they introduce Emeralda, like, oh, by the way, Faye has a nanomachine daughter in a tube.
What?
And she thinks he's his dad, and maybe he is. I don't know. And this is like 30 hours
30 hours in?
I can't with you, game. I'm sorry. I just can't. I don't know. You can't keep giving me things to keep track of. There's a whole other character, Maria, who has a whole arc in the Shavat section, but it actually feels good. It feels like one of those Final Fantasy VII arcs where it's like, and now this is Barrett's whole deal. Hey, this is Agate's whole deal.
Yeah.
If they did that for every character, I wouldn't mind if they weren't like plot essential at the end.
Yeah, like Rico and Billy kind of end up with the short end of the stick here, but like Maria ends up having a pretty good arc of her own, even though she's not like a, I guess I would say, main player of sorts.
Bart's is pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
He's kind of annoying, but in a way that I kind of like.
You want to smack the shit out of him most of the time, but it's in like a you're an idiot.
Not as much.
You're
not
an
as
idiot.
much as Satan.
Oh God, man. Well, I want to smack the shit out of Satan for different reasons. Satan's just like, man, you're kind of a fucking prick, aren't you?
He's just an asshole.
With Bart, I want to smack him around because we're friends. Like, it's like, yeah, you're my idiot friend. I expect you to be an idiot. With Satan, it's just like, I want to put your stupid glasses through the back of your skull because you are making me angry.
I want to delete your Reddit account.
Yes! He has a Reddit account. God damn it. He does.
I've gone.
Do you not even understand something as simple as that?
Oh!
I'm a Nazi.
I've basically gone 20 years thinking.
My wife says that. Go ahead.
I've basically gone like 20 years thinking that he betrays you at some point and was like a major villain. And
I know. I was waiting for it the whole time. But there's a fake out where he almost is, but then it turns out he's good. So he's just like that.
Yeah, he's one of those people. It's like, you are going to stab me in the back at any point. I bet John was about ready to bring up the quote of his that I really love. Go ahead, John. What's the quote?
Satan says, he's referencing his wife and child who show up at the beginning of the game and are never relevant again.
Yep.
But he says, my wife says that I talk too much. However, I do not think that I talk too much.
And thinking about that, well, the one thing that popped to mind when I remembered that line was like, man, that's something John would say.
Fuck you.
It just struck me as a John thing. I do not think I talk too much. It just strikes me as you, though. I'm not saying the whole character. I'm not saying the whole character reminds me of you, but that it just sounds like something you would say.
God. There's a bit where he's in a church with like Maria and Ellie, like walking him around. Maybe not Maria. It was the other character. It doesn't matter. Marjorie, who's like, and this is the holy church where I've lived my whole life. Here are the paintings that we've studied. And then Chitana's like, I've got thoughts on these paintings. And let me explain them to everybody. I've just seen them for the first time.
And in a way, I admire that about him because I think that's the kind of feeling I'm supposed to get. Is like, God, I'm supposed to not like this guy, right? And he's doing a real good job of it.
And then he's the one that gets the cool sword in the
back
half.
He is, of course.
Yeah, well, I've been holding off on using my true power this whole journey, but now it's time. I have to pull out my legendary blade. Rah, rah, now I'm kidding for 3 times stronger. It's like, fuck you.
While you were studying paintings in a monastery, I was studying the blade.
Nothing about you is cool. Fuck off.
I hate how they try to present him as old too when he's literally only 29. I bet you didn't think Saitan was only 29 years old, but they try to paint him as being like this older gentleman when he's literally only 29.
That's like a ton of Japanese games.
I know, but just thinking, like, I was just thinking about how he's written and how he's supposed to have this kind of old-timey feel to him, and the people that he hangs around with, like Sigurd, and people like that, who all come off as being really old people, the way they talk and the way they reminisce about old times, but the dude's literally 29.
Oh my god, I forgot about Melchior and Balthasar and Gaspar.
Yeah, those 3.
What?
Too. The three sages.
There's so much.
There's a lot going on in Xenogears.
They're just also named after the Bible.
Yeah,
the Bible sage.
Of course. I mean,
just like Ava.
Just like Evangelion. Look, there's a lot you can compare here, and I think that they wore that.
I was going to say just like Chrono Trigger, but
okay.
I know, but everybody compares this game to Ava, even though it sounds like it doesn't actually kind of do the same things.
No, not like it. There are similarities, but I think that you can trace a lot of that back to like Evangelion precursor, like Ideon or something, where like those like that. Like Evangelion didn't invent this whole idea of traumatized mechs and stuff and drama and being framed this way and looking at depression and mental issues in the same way. Like it, but it's There's another Saitan.
What?
Don't worry. What
do you mean?
He's just not named
Whatever.
Saitan. Don't worry. You'll know.
All right, whatever.
You'll know.
Oh, you mean in Xenosaga?
I finished the game. Oh, okay, in Xenosaga. Okay, I thought you meant in fucking Xenogears.
No.
A spiritual successor, I guess, is what she means.
Yeah.
So the best part about Disc 2 being unfinished is that the parts that they don't do are the parts that don't matter.
Yeah, like it's
Because
just
they
like
have-
this could have been like a boring 90-minute dungeon. Why do you want it to be?
Now it's a 3-paragraph summary of a 90-minute dungeon and then the actual boss fight and story stuff.
Yeah,
this
like
is nice.
it's just like the last time I played that game, I got to those portions and thought, this doesn't feel as bad as I think people make it out to be. Like I think a lot of the dungeon design in this game is not super wonderful. It's kind of a little too mazy for its own good at times. So not having to do another 90-minute dungeon.
And a lot of slow fights.
Yeah, there's a lot of slow fights. Look, Xenogears is a hard game to love, and I still love it.
Spoilers, I do too. And I just chewed through that game. I just chewed through it, y'all. It was so fucking fun, and I got all the way to the end, and I got to the final boss and got my ass kicked.
Oh, yep. And
then I was like, oh, fuck, I was so close.
Like, that last boss can be such a momentum killer, because the same fucking thing happened to me back in 1998. I got to that final boss and I got stonewalled. I tried for like 2 days trying to do it, and then like, I got in from school one day, and it was just like talking to a friend on the phone, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna fire this up and play while we're talking, and I just accidentally beat the boss, and I was like, oh, okay, the secret is to just not give a fuck.
God, that's funny. I complained on Twitter and had 5 friends send me in-depth tips on how to win.
You were
and
not
I grinded for 3 hours, and then I came back and completely decimated the boss.
Yeah.
And then I came back the next day and was like, can I beat this without doing the support fights? And then I did easily.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this you can break this if you want.
Yeah.
Which was pleasing. I came so close in the end, and there's that underground bonus area. It's like the one optional area in the game.
Oh yeah.
And I got to the room with the Emeralda plotline, but because the game had automatically switched in Bart, I didn't have her in my party, and I always had her in my party otherwise. But you just have to stand in this specific room with her in your party, and that triggers the scene.
And that triggers a cutscene. But the game had swapped her out.
It's a good fucking cutscene.
Oh, it's one of the cooler fucking moments in the game.
Yup. So I think the big thing that connected with me near the end of this game is that I just really, really, really started vibing with Ellie and Faye's romance.
Yeah,
it just got its nails in me.
Yep. It's a damn well written love story, which makes sense, seeing as this game was written by an actual married couple.
Yeah, it feels like that. I was worried I was projecting that, but I really think it just feels like it was written by 2 fucking adults. And 2 fucking adults.
Hey, boom.
Because there's actual sex in this game.
Hey,
it's
somebody
like
gets to fuck! Like, a
sex.
lot of people get to fuck in this game.
I know. It feels mature in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think you can make a lot of criticisms on how a lot of the gender stuff plays out.
For sure.
There's a particularly dire bit where Faye is just like,
oh god.
Now I need you to stay back here so that you can be my safe place for when I return from the war. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
Us women need to stay here so that we can protect the homestead.
Yeah. Doesn't feel good.
And that's like the last time you get to play as Ellie.
Yep.
Also.
Yep.
And I thought that because I did peek at a guide for one of the dungeon puzzles right before that, and I saw unequip Ellie, and I was like, what?
What?
No.
The way that's worded is so amazing, though.
Yeah, it could mean anything.
Ellie will be leaving the stage
and
for
then,
the entire rest of the game. Yes, the rest of the game.
And I was like, and then so I thought watching that scene that this was going to be the justification for her leaving the rest of the game, but no, she's gone for one scene, and then she swoops in to save everybody, and then gets kidnapped so that she can be rescued, and that's why she's gone.
And that's why she's gone.
And that's much better, obviously. So aside from there is some garbage. I think that. For me, the big takeaway was with the romance was that I did not feel like Ellie was just written as a man's stand-in for ideal woman romance.
Yeah, basically. Exactly. She's not just a trophy to be had.
No. Which is like, I don't get that vibe from like Renoa. I don't even get that vibe from Eris. Really.
No.
Where they feel like these are romances from the man's perspective and maybe isn't super reflective in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, again, I feel worried that I'm projecting because I knew like, hey, this game was written by a couple, but this felt a lot more even-handed. There are large chunks of Disc 2 that are told specifically from Ellie's perspective, including her internal monologue. The conflicts she has are given a lot of weight throughout Disc 1. Like, hey, she, because of experimental military drugs, went berserk and killed people that she knew.
Yeah, and you have to kind of trudge through that. You get into her head about how that's fucked her up.
And Faye is there the whole time. They have their first encounter is Ellie threatening to kill Faye, and then Faye's like, "Well, fucking do it!
Fucking do it! Let's do this! Let's go!
Pull the trigger!" And it's like, holy shit!
And she's like, "You're a coward! You're a coward!" And he's like, "Well, you're a coward! You won't shoot me!"
We met in the mists of the morning. And the way that progresses and develops, and the way that it turns into like Ellie having to face down, like, oh shit, my country is evil.
Yeah.
And then dealing with her parent drama, which is like
that's tricky shit too.
A lot of it. Oh yeah, I'm the child of an illicit affair with this other person, and I have to deal with that, and I have baggage about that.
Whoops.
And I just kind of go through it step by step. I'm talking a long time. I feel like this has been fun. Is this okay?
I'm here for it. Like, we're never gonna get to do a Xenogears spoiler cast, so
yeah.
Okay. And so when it gets to the point where they're like, "You are the love of my life," I feel supreme bliss when I am in the embrace of the man that I love. When it gets to that point, I'm just like, yes, I'm fucking here for it, girl. I get it.
Yeah, like they take their time getting there. Like, we say that a lot. Like, you earned that moment, and like this game spends the time to get there. Like when these big feelings need to start coming out, or when characters kind of have these big realizations and need to act on them, they feel honest. They came to them in a very they came together in a very honest and mature way.
Mm-hmm. The Faye flashbacks are fascinating because he has amnesia at the start of the game, and you keep getting these flashbacks to like different moments from his past before that, and as it plays out, they're like weird and honestly like kind of contradictory. The backstory bits, and you're like, this is weird. Spoilercast. But like you get to the end, and it's flashing back to these different reincarnations of Faye and Ellie throughout time, and all the ways their romance has ended in tragedy. Including, and then that ties in with Emeralda's story.
Yep.
It ties in with a bunch of the villains. It ties in with the overall arc of the game. And it builds out in a way that does not insist on it overtly. And then the way it ties in with Faye's ultimate psychological breakthrough, which felt so fucking under the microscope, real shit.
Man, like when I played this game in 1998, like this game is kind of formative for me, and why I hold it so dear is that I'd not played a game that deep dived into the psyche and was kind of giving words to certain feelings or certain situations, and things of this nature. I'd never played a game like that before, and that's the reason this game kind of stuck with me in the way that it has, is because it was very formative in me kind of coming to understand a lot of things sort of about myself, the world, things that I'd never been able to put words to before, suddenly kind of had words that I could put to them, and they came from this place that I was not expecting at all. You know, fucking video game about giant robots.
Like the big breakthrough moment in this game is Faye realizing my mom abused me a bunch and it sucked and it messed me up, but she also loved me, and I have to face that. I have to understand those two contradictory things.
He has to reconcile this. Like, you can't move forward unless you fucking deal with it. Like, this is the thing that is holding you back from progressing as a person. This is the thing. You've got to fucking find a way to pull through this.
This game basically turns into the Trail's third climax at the end.
It literally does.
But because Falcom is Falcom, they build to it like very precisely and
Yes.
deliberately, where you understand exactly what's happening every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Xenogears is a lot looser.
Yep. It's a little sloppy.
And much sloppier. And in some ways, I think that makes for a stronger effect.
Because dealing with this shit is not pretty.
Yeah, it lets you hit the shit more indirectly.
Yeah.
And I really vibe with that. And I feel like that is a pretty glowing comparison, because I've had some very nice words to say about Trails Third.
Yeah, Trails Third. You might say we like that video game around these parts. So comparing it positively,
still,
probably a good thing.
Yeah, that's still my favorite Falcom game.
Yeah.
And boy, howdy, did Trails in the Sky pull a lot from Xenogears, huh?
Man, you don't realize it until you're kind of staring it in the face years later. And it's like, wow, they really did, huh?
Yeah, like it's a little girl with a mech. That's cool. That's just like Trails in the Sky. The buried deep child abuse backstory.
Oh boy,
wow, we're doing this now.
Oh, we're going
this
there
was from here, huh? Yeah, it's Faye's poor backstory is just like the hardest parts of Trails Third just like mushed together into one broken dude.
Yeah, and we haven't even touched on Karin Ramses and how fucking raw of a deal he got. God.
So when it gets to the end, and there's a big fat final dungeon and a big fat final boss fight, so at the time where they did kind of need that, they go for it. They spent the time for it. Who gives a shit that they missed a bunch of incidental dungeons and saved 10 hours of my life? I don't feel bad about that. I feel like Chrono Cross is a game that's like way more painfully unfinished.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is finished in the ways that matter to me.
I feel the need to remind people that Xenogears was the pitch for Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm. And when did they also consider making it a Chrono Trigger 2?
Yep, this was also considered to be a Chrono Trigger 2 at one point, but they originally pitched this as Final Fantasy VII. Imagine the world we would live in if this was Final Fantasy VII.
That's so fucking juicy. I love that so much of this was developed concurrently with 7 too, because it's like, what other game was doing this kind of psychological shit at the time?
Final Fantasy VII. Yeah.
Oh, there are a lot of the same creatives like Kato's and both, but Tato. So when they get to the end, after all of that shit, after everybody in the world, including all of the incidental characters, has like trauma they're entangling, most of which has to do with their parents, and you realize that all of these big institutions are fucking twisted and corrupted beyond belief and basically need to be torn down, and then you realize that the entire foundation of humanity itself is twisted and warped and ugly and something you need to confront. It's like it's just trauma untangling the game. And the reincarnation stuff feels like it's not just this one guy's trauma. It is facing down the scars in the whole world.
Yeah, like it's this shit gets passed down. Like it doesn't. You don't necessarily like it doesn't stop until it's actually confronted. Like and I think that in that sense, this is a game that's teaching a very, very good lesson.
Yeah, I think it's a very non-conservative game in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like it's got a lot of good radical energy, even with the shitty gender stuff, along with a lot of other issues. Like nothing's perfect in that respect. But it sticks the landing on that stuff, and then the ending is so deeply romantic and so deeply sappy in a way I completely vibe with. Yeah, it's like God yelling at them. You think that your love is more powerful than God? And Faye's like, yes!
Yes, I do!
We don't need God if we can be with each other. That's what matters. I was like, fuck yeah, man. I feel you. I get you.
It's real good.
I'm laughing so much because they just directly lift that in Symphogear.
Yes! Perfect!
I love it. I love it.
my god, I fucking love it. Oh my god, all the Oedipal shit in this game, where the spirit that possessed his mom is the same spirit that possessed his wife, is the same spirit he flies into a mech to kill.
Oh my god!
Gotta fly into space to save my wife mom and kill my other mom. And kill God.
Because that's the most important part.
No, wait, that's just Ava at this point, though.
Yeah, basically.
There's so much good shit there. It's so fucking messy. Honestly, like as ugly as parts of it got, like the gender shit in this game was just a delight for me to poke through. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is juicy. Everything with Miyoung, holy shit.
Oh god, that woman. There's so much going on.
So much going on with her. And then they play the big sappy romance number at the end, and I've been looping it all week.
Yeah.
I think a big part of it also is that like the last 10 hours of this game were right after my very romantic Valentine's getaway.
Well, there you go.
And then I get back, and then I played through the end of this game, and the night after I finished this, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning after like a weird romantic dream, and I felt like this most intense sense of nostalgia and loss and romantic yearning.
Oh my god!
I like had ever felt. Not ever felt, but it was just like, and I couldn't get back to sleep, and I was just luxuriating that for like an hour, and I was just like, what the fuck was that game?
What happened?
So I think a lot of it was just having that very romantic getaway, and then going straight into this and just
into the very romantic video game.
But it was a potent cocktail.
You hit that game hit you at the right fucking time.
After it hit me at exactly the wrong time, over and over and over and over.
Yeah, it finally found its moment.
15 to 20 hours. It was exactly the right time. I needed Xenogears. And I'm like, I think the next time I revisit this one, I'm going to be in a much better headspace for it because I know it's going somewhere.
For sure, yeah. For sure, yeah.
And honestly, Xenoblade had like a 15-hour chunk I didn't like that much. Like there's the it's actually the exact same hours of the game. Was like hour 10 to hour 25. Xenoblade just turns into like, it almost feels like a Tales game basically, or just like completely.
Doesn't that fucking game have a prison plant? Doesn't that game have a fucking prison island too?
Yeah, that's the arc.
Yes.
Oh no, games! We can't do prison arcs. Please stop.
And you get to the end, and they like do this really long flash forward, like this is how the arc's gonna end, and then they flash forward a couple more times, like, hey, just a reminder, this is how the arc's gonna end, and then you just plod through 15 hours waiting to get to the thing, and then you can just watch it play out because they already told you how it's gonna happen.
Yep. That was when I first took my year off of Xenoblade. Once I finished that, I went, okay, we're resting for a bit.
And then 25 more hours of just being fucking fantastic. But I'll tell you something. The romance in Xenoblade didn't hit as hard as this one. And the psychological shit didn't hit as hard as this one because there was no psychological shit. It was just using the power of the Monado to change your destiny for 50 hours.
I will agree the romance in Xenoblade
is a much dumber game.
Listen.
Go ahead.
It's okay to be dumb. Dumb is not an insult on this podcast.
No, I just think Xenoblade obviously did not lean into the romance as much.
No, it's not a romantic
secondary
game.
Thing.
No.
Yeah.
Does Xenoblade have a bunch of really fucking weird edible shit?
No.
It does not. That was not a trick question. It doesn't. I don't think so. I don't think it does not have a section where you are flashing back at length to oh god, I was abused, and I've got these different personalities which are also cut across my various reincarnated selves who are also my dad, who is also these two characters.
I'm somehow my own grandpa. It's weird.
I'm my own So I understand now people coming across people playing Xenoblade and being like, well, this is what I loved about Xenogears. I'm like, I get it, but also Lewis is saying Xenoblade isn't that impressive, and Xenoblade is extremely impressive. It's extremely good. It's like my favorite Brandon Sanderson JRPG. It's so fucking fun, and like I said, it just goes. So I really loved Xenoblade, and I really like this game a lot, and I really connected with it on a fucked up level.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely here for the other games in the Xeno series. I'm very here for more Xenoblade. I'm very here for Xenosaga. And I'm kind of rubbing my hands together, just like, yay.
As the resident Xenosaga fan, I applaud this because, yep, more people need to play those video games, and boy, somebody needs to re-release those games so more people can play those games because they're getting very difficult to find now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, the narrative with Xenogears is that it was unfinished, and I got to the end, and it was a Sockscast climax, and I'm like,
yeah.
The final boss is so dope, by the way. With
like
the way there's 4 different bosses hovering around the final boss, and you can kill as many as you want, and everyone that you kill takes away an attack from the final boss.
Yep.
It's so cool.
It also lowers its max HP.
Yep, and you can switch between all your different characters before each fight.
Yeah.
So you can either have your one superpowered team of 3 people and fight the boss right away, or you can switch between your characters and conserve resources because fuel is like precious.
And there's one boss that's very specifically just, hey, I drain fuel and that is all I do.
Oh no!
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's
and you can't combo this boss either. It just stays on the ground. You can only use one hit attacks against it.
Oh, it's so dope. I had a lot of feelings all week about Xenogears. I've stretched them across like every social media platform I could, so it wasn't overwhelming to any one group of friends.
Yeah, and your Facebook friends seem to just ignore it entirely.
Yeah.
Facebook friends did not care about my Xenogears.
Imagine your friends care. Imagine your Facebook friends caring more about your relationship posts than your post about Xenogears.
I did post one bait post on there that was name a more romantic video game ending.
I saw that.
And someone responded, Final Fantasy VIII.
Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh,
eyes on me. Oh my god, get out of my face.
That's like on Twitter. That would be the joke answer.
I respect Final Fantasy VIII stands. I respect Chrono Cross stands. I think that we need all of this to make a balanced, good universe. And I think if any one of them fell out of balance, then it would be catastrophic. So even if we may not personally understand the Final Fantasy VIII fans, we can still love and respect them. And that's my take. And they should respect the Xenogears fans.
They don't. Most of the time, no, they don't.
But do Xenogears fans respect anybody, Polly, for the most part?
Nah. Like, Xenogears fans, they barely respect themselves.
Yeah.
They hate Xenosaga fans, like, with a passion.
Yeah, that's the experience in my mentions.
Jesus
lately.
Christ. Like, these people are just, they're off their nut.
Oh, I just saw a mention that was somebody who's in the thick of the worst part in the sewers, and they're like definitely starting to wonder why I decided to play Xenogears again.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I feel like I could just keep I feel like I wanted to get across that this is fucked up. This is a fucked up and boring game for large stretches of it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to not like it or want to play it.
I get that. Like, these are not, like, Xenogears and Xenosaga are not games that I recommend to everybody. They are personal, dear favorites of mine, but they are not games that if you ask me to throw somebody recommendations, they're not the first that I'm going to throw to you, unless I know that you are the type of person that is going to enjoy this kind of experience.
Mm-hmm. And you trusted. You felt that.
Right.
For old John.
For old John.
And I figured it out. And it just boy, I'm really glad I played this now and not 2 years ago.
Oh God! Oh no! That would have been terrible. That would have been a very bad move.
You got mad at Shovel Knight, Plague of Shadows.
He got mad at the happy. He got mad at the happy couple in East 8.
Oh yeah.
This fucking bullshit. They think their love is stronger than God. Love isn't strong enough to beat anything. Love is stupid. This is stupid.
But to kind of wind down Xenogears.
Yeah, I'm wrapping up.
Okay, it sounded like that this really like landed in the way that I was hoping it would land, and kind of knew that it would land. It just kind of needed that its time to get there.
See, I did not know because I've had 20 years of I do not trust in Xenogears. Because I dropped it and just never looked back, and everybody told me Disc 2 was unfinished.
Yeah, they really just oversold that because
Yeah,
I really thought I was just gonna have like a Chrono Cross tier experience in the end, and it just is so much better than that.
The thing I've always heard is, Disc 2 is a visual novel, and I'm only now am I realizing, but wait, visual novels are good.
Visual novels are rad!
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? The worst part of that game was the JRPG.
Yep.
Pretty much. It's still better at being a JRPG because there's like a bunch of good like roadblock boss fights, I think.
Oh god, yeah, like there's some super crunchy boss fights in this game.
Yeah, as long as you're doing shit that matters, not prison arc.
Yeah.
No, the dungeons themselves are boring. Because the random encounters don't do anything because you can buy full ether restoring items like for cheap very early on.
50 gold.
No dungeons
you can buy items that only cost 50 gold that give every character their HP and EP back after every fight. It works. God. It's just a tent you can use everywhere. For 50, I think they mispriced it in the game, and they just didn't fix it. Mm-hmm. I think those were supposed to be 500, and they're only 50, and you can buy them right in Lahan Village, right at the start of the game.
Yeah,
Xenogears remastered, and that's the only thing they changed.
They make them 500. They make them 500 gold, and then suddenly,
so the game is just actually way grindier now.
And now we hate the game.
And then they have tents that cost 150 gold.
Yeah, the tents are 150 gold, and you have to use them at save points.
Okay, yeah,
so
it's
exactly
busted.
The same deal.
Yeah,
it's so busted. So yeah, the JRPG, there's some locations that are cool, and there are a lot of boss fights that are cool. The dungeons are nothing.
Yeah,
and the dungeons are the main thing that go in that disc.
Yeah.
So it's the most like goes down smooth budget issues I can think of.
Yeah.
In a game.
Yeah. They're budget issues that I've grown to just be completely 100% fine with over the years.
Because the game would probably be worse.
Yeah, it would. It would.
You'd have more fucking dungeons. It would be 80 hours instead of 50 to 60.
Oh god.
So maybe it was for the best.
Maybe.
This is like the second longest PS1 RPG on how long to beat, by the way. It's like 56 hours.
And like Dragon Quest VII, I imagine, is the longest.
That's the only one longer.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm done.
All right.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate that.
About this
we got to let that happen every now and again, I think. Yeah. Rhett, pull us out. What do you got?
A 5-minute break.
All right.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Fair.
We'll be back.
What?
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 What? What's up?
Oh God. No, we can't. We're too old for that.
Can we go back to Neon Genesis Evangelion? What's up?
What was that? 2001.
That was 2000. That has to be 2000.
I think you're right. Just looking at my own Newgrounds account.
Oh God! Don't do it. You're gonna do it again. You're gonna do it again. You're gonna hate it. I'm gonna have to put a big old timestamp in 2000.
2000.
What date?
I think it was June 27th, 2000.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put a big old timestamp on this episode, I think.
Why?
Because we basically spoiler casted Xenogears. Yeah. There's a lot we just kind of casually dumped.
I know. It is funny the way we talk around stuff in Ys 9, and then John is just like, so anyways, exactly what happens.
Well, like, Xenogears is 23 years old, so...
Yeah, I know, I understand why, but it's... Like, we just played through Ys 9, so I'm able to reference stuff, and you're able to follow what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I could just say the end of that one fucking chapter, and you know.
Oh, man, you feel it. You feel that one, man. My God, it's so good!
Yeah, I basically just kind of gave up entirely on any kind of spoiler.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to timestamp that.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal. So it was good. It's good because I don't get to talk about Xenogears with people because nobody likes it. I don't get to talk about Xenosaga with people because nobody likes it. I don't get to talk about Final Fantasy 13 with anybody because nobody likes it.
Oh, I'll get you. I'll get there. I'll probably get there before doing I hope that's okay.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Wow. I'll get there at some point.
You're going.
I'll get there at some point.
I think I like Xenosaga
that's
probably
what I'm guilty
more
about because it's your.
Yeah, like that's an immediate.
That's what I feel guilty about because it was your game of the year.
Yeah.
And I just keep putting it off.
Well, I mean, I think that if you go into a game and you're just not in the mood for it, like, what's the fucking point? You're gonna bounce off. I don't want you to bounce off my fucking game of the year. I'd like you to go into that with as an ideal conditioning as possible. So it's like, fine, okay, you're playing Xenogears in the meantime. Fine, you're playing Xenosaga in the meantime. My feelings aren't hurt. I'm here for it.
I think I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna have another section. All that happened was that I finished E7 and the ending was fucking perfect.
Okay.
And I played half of Amuri, and it's very good so far. I'm having a good time.
Okay. And you replayed Ys 1.
And you replayed Ys 1. And
I did. I replayed Ys 1, and it was fucking excellent. If I replay when I replay Ys 2, we can go over both of them maybe.
Okay.
Right. So I think that's it.
Okay.
I Xenogears, and that's all I needed.
Okay, just toss to Rhett then.
Rhett, what's up?
Hey, you. Hey, how's it going? You awake over there? I know we just spent 4 hours talking about an RPG that was on your worst games ever list.
That's literally what I was looking for on the website is. So how long did I know Polly? Because I think we did those in 2008.
So we've been knowing each other 7 years at that point.
And then I probably hadn't mentioned Xenogears because I just, I stopped playing it.
I would have known that you didn't like that game at some point, I would think. But seeing it that high, like on your list at that position, blew me fucking away.
I'm so sorry.
Like, wow.
Well, the thing is, I remembered this because I can just recall details from this shit. Picture perfect. I remember number 2, worst game of all time, Polly. I think was Xenosaga
episode 2.
Oh.
And at the top of that entry, you said I was either gonna put this or the original Xenogears here. I don't know what it was.
Wait.
I think it was a coin flip.
What?
Did you have a hater face, Polly?
Did I? I don't. That doesn't sound like me.
Wait.
I think
Okay,
maybe had a hater face.
Wait. Wow, John is right.
What?
Number three on Polly's top 10 worst of all time is Xenosaga Episode 2.
Yeah.
But the wording is, I was really torn between putting this or the original Xenogears here.
Huh. Why did I write that? How high was I?
Xenogears itself isn't a horrible game. It's just insanely frustrating for a lot of stupid reasons.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's
I would
marked
write
by
that.
bad gameplay design and what looks to be like a case of, whoops, there goes the budget near the end. Xenogears fanboys will be quick to tell me that it's just trying to be artsy-fartsy, but fuck off. Complaining about gear-based dungeons, complaining about long cutscenes. You had a lot of little Xenogears frustrations, actually, that you listed here.
Oh, boy. All right, let's just
mostly
close
fair.
that tab. We're going to close that tab. We're closing that.
Close the tab on Polly's hater face.
Right, we're closing that. We're going to go over to
This is
FileZilla.
amazing.
We're going to go over to FileZilla. We're going to go to the www. We're going to go to the XML folder. I'm going to go in here.
We're going to save this page so that Polly can't delete it. Oh, there it goes. It's on my computer forever.
God damn it.
Holy cow.
Nothing ever.
Hey, don't worry, archive.org already has it.
Yeah, this site's been around for 15 years, and I just re-upped
know.
it for 2 years, so they have it. I think that this
Holy
is back
cow.
when I think that this is really kind of back when I was thinking of that list in terms of like
Disappointing.
mechanically and disappointing.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
was looking at video games in a very video gamey way for that list. So
Specifically, the wording, though, about artsy fartsy is amazing.
That's-
given the conversation you literally just had with.
oh man.
So the actual reaction to me putting Xenogears on my list is probably nothing because you almost put it on yours.
Oh man.
You also put Saga Frontier on the list and Final Fantasy VIII.
Me, yeah.
The only one you didn't put it. The only ones of the only classic bad Square PS1 game you didn't include was Chrono Cross.
Chrono Cross
I
was
never-
spared and he never
Because I never
played
played
it.
it. I literally saw my college roommate playing it, and they were on the final boss and whatever, Shalalavos thing you fight at the
Yeah.
end, and I was just like, fucking whatever.
This
I
looks
just didn't
stupid.
care. That's literally the
Obviously,
only part of
you
the
need to
game I
play
saw,
this 'cause
was the final boss.
Obviously, you need to play. Obviously, you need to play it because Xenogears was the last bad one I hadn't played, and it was the one I liked of the three.
There you go.
So obviously, you need to play Chrono Cross, and you will become. You can be the.
No,
You'll be the
I'm
Chrono
not.
Cross
of the
guy.
podcast.
Like all 50 of these characters that you're not going to care about at all. It's great. It's got more characters. That means it's more better.
I remember counting those lists, and Chrono Cross appeared on the most, so it was the kind of unofficial.
The unofficial.
Socks make people sexy.
Ooh.
Worst game of all time.
Oh! That's
I
gonna
feel like that
ruffle.
would have been the easiest one for me to love when I was like 16, and now it is the hardest of the three for me to love.
Oof.
That's wild.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can definitely see
16.
Xenogears being the one you can appreciate when you're older.
I think, yeah, okay, anyway. Moving on from this terrible course of history. Rhett! How's it going?
I am just astounded at John remembering this knife to give Polly.
Wow. Yep, that happened. What an amazing, why do you, man, don't leave paper trails. God damn.
Our websites are...
Well, luckily I don't have. Luckily, I don't have any embarrassing. thing I
No,
wrote on
certainly
my
not.
None whatsoever.
Metroid Other M review.
These lists are so a moment in time
Yeah,
that
for
it's
sure.
so interesting to go back and see something like that because I know
But that one...
in particular is just kind of like, how high was I?
That one is funny because it's still fairly removed from the original release of Xenogears. That you're like 8 years later, you're like, no, fuck it. So for you to have softened, so much over the time since then,
right,
is interesting. Without remembering putting.
I think again, a lot of that hatred is just. A lot of that hatred is literally just from the fact a lot of that game feels bad to play, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. So I've been playing Omori this week, and I kind of complained about the JRPG being a little basic in it towards the start, and John just goes, "Feels 10,000 times better to play than Xenogears."
Oh! Rhett's coming to Omori off of fucking Ys 9, snappy Falcom game, and I'm going into it after Xenogears, and I'm like, oh my god, it feels like Earthbound. This is so fast. This is just lightning quick. God, yes, thank you.
Slow-ass labored gear animations are so good. I love it when they put you underwater, and it's even slower.
Watching a 15-second death blow animation for every attack.
Every time! And they can speed them up because when you use the combo ability, it plays them at 3 times speed.
Oh my god. If I played Xenogears, it would have to be on an emulator with a significant fast-forward function.
Okay, Rhett.
Okay, I played, just to get on with it, I played Super Mario 3D World.
Hey, I played the first world of this!
Speaking of video games that are snappy and responsive and feel good to play, this is one of them.
Yes, it is!
Yep.
But especially, John, they've sped this game up 20%.
This game feels original. So different.
See, Polly's the only one that has actually dabbled in both. Mm-hmm. I was just like, oh, this just feels very, very good to play. And Polly's like, yeah, it's way faster.
Yeah, this is... Having played the original to a degree, and having played also the 3DS game, this game is way faster, and it feels really good because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't dislike that. Even though I thought the original game felt great, I'm here for the game just being faster.
It's weird because I think
love playing Toad because he was the fastest.
I see. Yeah, I started with Mario and I was like, yeah, this feels pretty good. And I started using Toad and it was just like, Jesus Christ, this boy's out of control. I love it. Also, I think the cat suit feels the least creepy on Toad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Toad isn't really human, he's a toad.
Yeah.
Mario on all fours walking around as a cat is deeply disturbing to me. So yeah, I played virtually the entire game as Toad, including the final level that I beat last night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really think I have a whole lot to say about this game. It's just, hey, they have kind of perfected what they were going for with 3D Land, which is 2D Mario in 3D.
Yeah, this is that stopgap that I was expecting between Super Mario World and Super Mario 64. They kind of made that retroactively after the fact.
Yeah.
And I played the first world and already know that it's oh, yeah, this is going to be fantastic. This game is going to be on Game of the Year lists. It's very fucking good.
Yeah. It's just I think they couldn't have made this game on the N64 just because of how far, responsiveness and controls and stuff. The way the camera in this works by basically giving you only, these 45-degree angles, because Mario 64 was built around, hey, analog sticks.
Yeah.
They weren't a thing before this game.
Yeah.
And now they are. So, and the camera in that game obviously has not exactly held up.
No.
To the test of time, having just replayed it on the collection.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is weird being like,
Plus,
hey, yeah.
64 just the way I think they built it. Part of the reason they built it the way they did is that they built these environments and then they reuse them a bunch. You have a bunch of different challenges.
Oh,
the
yeah.
nature of 3D World means that you have 100 something stages, and that's just I don't know how practical that would have been to build on the N64.
Yeah, you just I don't think that you're gonna have the capability of doing that.
Yeah, building levels in 3D, that's the way Zelda is the way it is, too, because they were just how do we reuse the entire map again?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Mario was just hey, what if we make you do each level 7 times? Because these are taking us forever to make, because 3D is new.
Yeah.
This is so fucking hard. Can we please reuse this?
Yeah. See, like I don't have a ton of complaints about this game. It just does what it does, like basically perfectly.
Yeah, like it is functioning on the like a level of Mario that is just kind of near perfect. It's doing exactly what it needs to do.
Like the complaints are like there's some times where it feels like it doesn't gain a whole lot from being in 3D. So like if you accidentally press down a little bit, you just jump off the level and die.
Yeah, that can feel real bad in games where that happens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like there's some parts in Champions Road where it's like, oh, I accidentally, like during the swimming section, I actually pressed down and just swam out of it towards the camera and just died. It was like, oh, right. Like, because in Galaxy, it would probably just lock you to,
it would,
the access. And in this, it never does. And it just lets you fucking fly off the level.
Yeah, games where that happen, it always feels really bad.
Yeah. But you get used to it because your movement in this is actually kind of locked to 45 degrees.
Yeah.
There's one thing in this game that kind of drives me nuts, though.
Oh?
And that is the obsession with collectibles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a thing that 3D World, or 3D Land did as well, and I didn't obsess about it in that game. I just got most of them and then ended up stopping.
Yeah.
And I might actually go back to it later, now that it's been like a year, and I could be like, oh, all new levels again. So this game has a level called Champions Road at the end.
Yeah.
And to unlock it, you have to do fucking everything.
Yeah.
You have to get every stamp, you have to touch the top of every flagpole, and you have to get 3 green stars in every single level.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is
you don't have you don't have to touch the top of the flagpole with every character, which is required to get
fucking God.
Some stamps. Sorry, continue.
Yeah,
that's the one thing they don't make you do.
You have to do everything available up until World Crown, and then once you unlock World Crown, it goes, oh, by the way, now there's a requirement for every character in every level, which is fucking insane.
God.
And the worst is looking at forums from 2014, and people aren't sure if you have to do every level with every character to unlock it or not.
Holy shit.
You do not, thank God. But anyways, the requirements for that level are so steep that it's something I thought about the entire game, and that kind of sucked.
Yeah, like I can feel that weighing on you the whole time because it's just like you're always constantly going to be looking like, am I missing something? Am I missing something? Am I missing something? And I can see that really taking away from just like sitting back and enjoying the level.
That's like the whole game for me is just going, I want to go really slowly, even though going fast is fun.
Like
because I want to get every green coin.
Kind of probably how I'm going to try and approach it. I think I'm just going to play it as fast as I want to.
It's very fun to do that.
Yeah.
The problem is I think it's also going to be a very short game if you do that, especially now with... Because I think the speed boost makes you jump farther. So
it does. Yeah.
You can trivialize some parts that they didn't intend originally. But it's also very fun.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to get the dumb bonus level, so I sat there obsessing over every green coin and not moving on until... And it's just kind of a checklist thing that kind of dragged it down a little bit the entire time for me. Even though, like, towards the end when I was like, okay, here's the levels I have left, like, I didn't mind replaying them. Like, the game is still fun, and, like, once you get everything, it's like, okay, now I can do the end. Because I feel like courses in this are maybe a little shorter than I would have liked. Like, they always feel like they're 2/3 of the way there or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nintendo's view of what a Mario course is just kind of different from what I think they could be.
Yeah.
Because so many ideas in this game, they feel kind of 80% developed. Like, there are so many things in this game that crack me up because they show up in Mario Maker, but they like barely appear in the original game.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. So like, I'm trying to think, like, those blocks that when you ground pound them, they extend and like make a whole trail of blocks.
Yeah.
Like, those aren't really in this that much. Or like one of the enemy types, like the ants. Like, they're barely in the game, but people do fucked up shit with them in Mario Maker.
In Mario Maker, yeah.
Yeah, so it's weird seeing these obstacles that, like, technically were in this game, but then, like, even Cat Bowser is a boss you can put in Mario Maker, And, he shows up once in the game.
Wow.
And and I think Blargs are like an enemy in Mario Maker, and they I'm not sure they actually do anything. I'm not sure they actually exist in this game besides as a background decoration.
Jeez.
Like those are the lava monsters that jump out of lava.
Yeah,
You can place them as obstacles in Mario Maker, but I don't think they actually show up as an enemy in this game.
Weird.
So it's just kind of what I was talking about earlier about when I played Captain Toad in Mario Maker. It's there's this whole 3D world aesthetic, and I haven't actually played the original game yet.
Actual game.
And now I have.
Yeah.
The other thing that's weird for me is that the level themes do not match the world maps. At all.
3D Land had this issue too.
You think it's going to after World 1, and then the other levels, they deliberately tease you where you get to World 2 and it's a desert theme, and the first level there is a desert, and then none of the others
are a desert. It's oh look, it's an ice level. What the fuck's happening here? What happened?
They just go, yeah, it's really weird how deliberately they seem to not.
It makes it feel like just a collection of levels, and maybe that could have had a little more thought put into it.
It feels like
That's
a collection of levels.
Of the game.
Yeah, and some of the themes.
Together. It's hey.
And some of the themes are just, they feel so underused, where it's there's one Mario Kart kind of visual level, and then there's one the feudal Japan looking level,
right?
There's one of those, and then a remix later in the bonus worlds. And it's just funny because boy, it feels like you could have just built a whole level of that.
You could have built an entire world around a Mario Kart.
I meant world.
A Mario Kart world or something. That would have been fun and interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of the because this game has so many ideas, a lot of them always feel
underutilized,
underexplored, which is really kind of interesting. But overall, it's a very fun game, and I did get to fucking Champions Road last night.
Yeah.
And then I basically just sat there for 4 hours,
banging your head against it.
Because at the very start, I started with Mario, and I'm this is fucked. There's this one part with the red and blue blocks that alternate which are tangible.
Yeah.
And it's just really fast. Mm-hmm. So I'm this is fucked. I'm gonna try Peach. And then so she gets through the first section way easier because she can hover, and then the red and blue block part, I'm this is even harder because she jumps so slow.
Yeah.
And these blocks are
oh man, that's fucked.
I mean, they're not that fast, but it's I cannot fucking time this at all. And so then I just was well, I played 99% of the game as Toad. Let's just use Toad. And so I just got really good at beating it as Toad. And then there's a part at the end that is just completely fucked. It's just mean.
They earned the right to be that mean at that point, I think.
Yeah. But again, it's one of those things
where 3 hours to beat this level. It was so bonkers ridiculous.
I took one break
so
to
hard.
eat, so it was probably about 3.5. Because I was fuck it, I'm done. And then I tried to do something else, and I was just I'm gonna play Omori for a bit, and I'm too stressed. I'm I can't stop thinking about it. I have to fucking just beat this. I know the dash part is the last part. I'm so close. I got 2 of those coins already.
It's 5 minutes too.
It's not super
it's not
long,
even long.
which is fine. Yeah, because that's why I looked.
Which makes it that it takes that long. That more impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very hard level. Even the very start is completely trivial by the end. But the first time you're just oh god, I have to go through this every time just to get to. I think the difficulty kind of craters in the middle, but the start and end are very hard. Mm-hmm. I think I had more.
Odyssey's super level was 10 minutes long, and it took me 45 minutes to finish. And I was well, all right.
I think I had a harder time with that one because it was longer, and I just was kind of bored.
Yeah, kind of hard to stay motivated to get better at something when you're just bored.
Yeah, because I think just
I was so excited after 3D Worlds, and then Odyssey's was just I really wanted that high again, and I just didn't get it. It was I'll stop interrupting.
I just remember Odyssey's being maybe a lot more. You have to do it this way, whereas this felt a little more freeform because of the movement.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good time, and I beat it. And it's also not the only game that comes in this package now.
Nope, it's not.
Because I played Bowser's Fury.
This I'm interested in. I have not. I didn't. I haven't touched this yet. I just played through a world of the main game. Was like, yep, I'm here for this. This is going to be good. So Bowser's Fury seems really cool. What is it?
So I did not touch this until I had beaten 3D World and like gotten to World, Flower or whatever towards the end.
Yeah.
So the only thing I had left was like 10 green coins, and I was just like, okay, I could mop that up, or I could just play the fun new video game. I'm going to play the fun new video game for a bit.
Yeah.
So this is a weird thing, because you know how we said that 3D World is a half step between 2D and 3D Mario?
Yeah.
Bowser's Fury is a half step between 3D Mario World and Super Mario Odyssey. It's weird. It's like a half step back. Because it's 3D World, but it's 3D now. But it's actually just 3D now.
Oh, that's weird.
It's really weird. And like that's kind of why they made the movement changes and stuff to make both of them play more like Odyssey.
Yeah.
Because you're faster now. You have like the dive and stuff.
Yeah.
So Bowser's Fury is weird because I've seen people look at it and say the same thing about it and then come to different conclusions. Where some people are like, yes, this is a failed experiment. That's why they're releasing it now. This is not the future of 3D Mario. And then other people look at it and go, this is the future of 3D Mario.
3D Mario, right.
So what this is, it's basically open world Mario where all the levels exist on the field at the same time. Is kind of how I can most describe it.
Okay.
But the downside is that if you think of them as full levels, you'll be let down because they're much, much smaller.
Yeah.
And a lot of them kind of do the Mario 64 thing of being kind of vertically oriented.
Yeah.
So that they don't take up a ton of space on the overall map.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. So it's a lot of like the first one is basically just a mountain that you go up and kind of spiral around to get to the top. So it's this big map with I think there's 12 kind of named obstacle courses. And one of the things I really like that I think they could expand upon is that when you go to one and it loads up and it gives you a very obvious star or shine to get. And then if you go somewhere else and then come back to that level, it loads up a different star. So every track does have 3 shines to get.
Yeah.
I keep calling them different things. So it's cool seeing them you leave and then come back and it's there's different enemy formations here.
Yeah.
Or sometimes there's even there's different platforms now. And that's really interesting in theory, but I feel a little half-baked in how they execute it. Because some of them are just okay, now there's a P-switch here, and when you hit it, a shine appears in some new platforms, and you have 20 seconds to get to it. So it's 20 seconds is not very long. That is not a Mario level length.
No.
It's so it's just these very small kind of bite-sized platforming challenges that don't feel super satisfying on their own.
Yeah.
And then some of them are just Chase Shadow Luigi is the character this time. And again, you can do it in about 20 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. It's just...
So, because, Bowser's Fury is, a 6-hour game to 100%, and there's 100 shines. They come pretty damn fast. One of the main levels is just,
Mario Odyssey pacing.
It gets way too close to that for me, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But, conceptually, I think there is definitely still something here of just more of a focus on level design than I think Odyssey had. Where Odyssey was a little too focused on, the theming of the levels in the open space.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just okay, here's the shit that matters. And, the whole thing takes place on a big water level. So, in order to get around, Plessy shows up from 3D World.
Oh, wow.
And it's just hey, just super, super fast travel.
Let's go.
One thing that, let's fucking go. And the other thing that's really fun is that you can just jump up onto land and start crashing into stuff.
Yes.
And it doesn't in 3D World. It automatically kicks you off. In this, it doesn't. So you can just fucking slam into trees and stuff.
That sounds pretty satisfying.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. Like she'll just break blocks or like clear out trees and just do whatever. You're pretty much invincible. But then, like one of the levels, this is probably my least favorite one. It's just a big arena, and the first time you go in, Boom Boom is in there, and the second time you go in, the female Boom Boom is in there.
Oh,
and the third time you go in, it's Boom Boom, but there's spikes on the ground now.
Oh,
I'm just like,
okay.
You're
just kind of
like, yeah,
some very linear progressions here.
Yeah. But, like, there's something that I just really like about 3D Mario, where just the change in camera and just being a little bit closer to the action it makes this feel different, even though
it's still kind of
essentially
like what
it's
you've
the same.
been playing. Yeah, you've been playing it already, but now you're having this different experience and perspective with it.
Yeah, just the different perspective and just the different, like, not being kind of on a grid like 3D World is.
Right.
Like, having that more freeform. One thing I thought was funny is that there's a ice skate. One of the levels is focused on an ice skate, and I'm just like, wow, you're using the ice skate more than 3D World actually did.
Wow.
That's, like, that and Plessie are just like, wow, these are mechanics from the original game that kind of never got super fleshed out, and you're using them really well here. And, like, not all the levels are misses. I think, like, a good half of them are really good. Like, there's one that uses those those platforms with arrows to left and right. Like, there's some good stuff with them as well. There's one with, like, invisible. The whole level's, like, invisible, and you just have to kind of feel around it to
nice.
Make the platform appear. So that's kind of the stuff they could reuse in the future and kind of refine. And then there's the unique stuff of this, which is that Bowser's mad.
Yeah, it's right there in the title. I'm understanding that
in the name.
He's having fury. He's having some fury.
So the other wrinkle of this, that something I don't think they'll probably repeat, is that, like, you're on a timer and Bowser just shows up every couple minutes and starts fucking firing lasers at you.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's like, boy, there's a few parts towards the end where the frame rate will just fucking tank.
No,
because,
these games
like,
feel really optimized for the most part. That's unfortunate.
It's
weird.
It didn't bug me a whole lot. It's just like if you're kind of in the third area, high up, overlooking the entire world map, and Bowser, and he shoots a laser at you, frame rate gets a little dicey.
Oh,
like,
no.
It's not game breaking. It's kind of funny how much it chugs.
Right.
Because it's just like, okay, like, that's probably why this is like a water area, so that you have to render as little land as possible.
Yeah.
So the other thing of that is that as you unlock these shines, you unlock, like, these cat shrines that have a gigantic bell. So then, once you get that, you unlock Super Saiyan Mario.
Oh my god.
And the hilarious thing about this is that when you're fighting Bowser as Super Saiyan Mario, you're doing it in the same world map, so that you're just jumping on the same levels as the main game. Except you're like 10 times as big now, so they're just like, it's like probably their best implementation of, like, big world, basically.
Yeah.
Like, just having that whole area below you as the battlefield is very funny.
That's pretty cool.
So then, you fight him a couple times. It's like, okay, get 50 shines now. And then when you beat it, there's a thing at the end that is extremely cool.
Neat.
So they really go kind of all out with the whole kaiju. I wish they just sold this on their own for $20. Like, seriously. Just be like, hey, 3D World for $40, Bowser's Fury for $20 digitally. And if you buy the physical, you just get both for $60. Like, they should have done that. Like, it's unfair for Wii U people to have to buy the entire game again.
Yeah, it sucks. But, I mean,
that's Nintendo.
That's Nintendo these days.
Like, I think this is
I could also just not play it.
That's another point. You know what? A fair point. A fair point, John!
Yeah. No, it's definitely unfair, because it's a pretty big value add, I think.
Yeah.
For new people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you made this just big enough for people to want to rebuy the entire thing, and that's kind of evil.
Yeah.
But I also kind of think Nintendo probably statistically doesn't give a shit about Wii U owners.
Oh, not at all. No.
Because there weren't any.
No, there were a precious few of them.
So yeah, Bowser's Fury is pretty fun, even though, again, I had issues with it, but I'm curious what they take from this into the next kind of mainline game.
Yeah.
Because the idea, just the whole implementation of just like, hey, all these levels just kind of exist in the same space is really
That's a great idea. Like, you can create a very marvelous sense of place like that.
Yeah.
You can create a world that feels like a world. Like, you know, we kind of talk about the city in East 8 or East 9 kind of being boring, but the fact that there are no load zones and the fact that it is this one big thing kind of helps make it feel like, despite the fact that it's kind of boring, it still feels like a place at least.
Oh, definitely. Like, setting is like a huge thing in that game, even though it's kind of a dull setting.
Yeah.
Whereas my main issue with 3D World, the main game, is that it just feels like a bunch of incidental levels.
Yeah, that aren't connected. They're still good levels. It's still fun.
Yeah.
But it's not like having that extra bit of theming would have really helped that game.
The funniest thing to me is that
that's my number one crit too.
Yeah. One thing that was really funny to me is that there's a toad house in like the last world. Mm-hmm. So it's like big lava themed map, and then you go to the toad house and it's tinted red and you can hear fire outside. And I'm just like, wait, you cared about the theming on this, but then you go to the you cared about the theming on this, but then you go to the next level and it's like a water level.
Oh, come on. God damn it.
Like, they get so close at times. But they just didn't give a shit about making anything besides fun levels.
Which, I mean, hey, fine, but it's just, man, that one little extra bit of polish would have helped.
Yeah.
It would have pushed this game into something just a little more than what it is.
Yeah. Because I think maybe that's what's so smart about Super Mario World, is that by doing them all in paintings, and that's 64. Is like, by doing the painting thing, like, you never feel like, oh, these are totally disconnected levels.
Yeah.
Like, they have that conceit to make it all feel cohesive.
Yeah.
So that's my Mario part.
Nice.
That needs pretty much all I've been up to
this game.
So
I've been excited for y'all to get to this game for so long now because it's so fucking good.
Yeah, this is a game, like, I loved that original 3DS game. Like, I loved that game a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, I blazed through, I did everything in that fucking game. It's a fantastic game. So like, when the Wii U game came out, this was like, wow, I'm never going to play this. Yeah, I'd played it at friends' places before. I borrowed a Wii U at one point and played, like, 3 or 4 worlds of it, but, it was just, like, hard to get into it, like, when it's just like, I've got to take this system back to my friend in a few weeks, and, well... Yeah, I kind of want to, like, marinate in these games a little more than I want, rather than trying to, blast through it. Mm-hmm. But now that it's just like, okay, I can enjoy this at my own leisure. I'm not going to, I'm going to be playing this game, but I'm not going to, like, barrel down on it the way that I did, like, East 9 or anything like that. I'm just going to, play a few worlds, put it down a little bit, enjoy it, just kind of save it. Because I know that, like, this is a gameplay, like, that I'm here for. I already love how it feels, so, let's savor it a little bit.
That's funny, because Ease was the game I savored, and this was the one I blasted through.
Yeah, it's funny.
Like, I would play, like, half a chapter of Ease every weekday, and on the weekend, I did, like, 4 worlds of this on the first day. It's like, okay, you might want to chill out. You're going to beat this in, like, 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
And then last night, I just, blasted through the rest of it.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
we're back to me, I guess.
Cool. I'm glad to... Yeah.
Cool. I played more video games.
You did?
Yeah, they were themed. I played 2 video games. And they had a roughly similar theme. I played some hacking video games. Those are fun, right? You guys know what hacking is, right? Of course you don't. You sound like computer plebs to me. Wouldn't understand my black hat culture.
I was really excited watching this journey. I was like, oh, this is cool. Oh,
so, there's a game that came out like a long time ago for the wind and for the snow, called Uplink. And this was a game that I had. I found out about it through a friend who they sent me a copy of it, and basically it's kind of just like this hacking kind of roguelike kind of thing where it's very immersed in kind of the setting that it's trying to put you up. Like, you're like a you're a hacker, you're breaking into systems, you're changing data, you're fucking around with academic records, things of that nature. And it has this cool progression to it where you get money for your hacks and you put that money into building up your rig. Like, you get more CPU power, you get more RAM, and then you just upgrade to a totally new unit, and that gives you more space to expand. So the hacks keep getting bigger and bigger and more nuanced, and you have to keep buying new apps and things to kind of keep up with it. So and this is a game that I enjoyed a lot, but because it was released, I think, in originally 2001, some things about it are a little esoteric. Like, how would you think that you if you were going to play a video game and inside that video game you had to delete a file, how would you delete a file in the video game world? Like, if you were using your standard keyboard and mouse controls, how are you going to delete a file? Like, just
delete
key.
Right. Maybe right-click a file and select delete from a context menu. Maybe something like that. So in Uplink, you've got to open separate file copier, a file deleter, a file downloader, log deleters. Like, you've got to do all of this stuff painstakingly. Just kind of you get into a system and it's just okay, I need to copy a file, so I need to open my file copier. Click on the file copier, drag the file copier over to the file that I want to copy, let it run its course, and then drag that over to my memory bank. So that stuff feels a little new, a little. It's maybe gamey for the sake of being gamey, because obviously I don't think that they couldn't have added a context menu back then. I think that they're just trying to create a very specific type of gameplay experience for what Uplink was trying to do at the time. But to my but beyond my knowledge, and when I because I just repurchased the game again because of the sale that they just did, because it was $2 or something. I was like, hey, I need another copy of that. So I started playing it and was just like, yeah, this really does feel a little rough. Still having a good time, but it still feels rough. Has anybody done anything to this game over the years to maybe, because the fonts are really small, maybe there's some new themes out that I could look at that could make this a little more readable, maybe a little more playable. Somebody did a complete fucking overhaul of this game. It's a complete HD overhaul. They've redone all of the fonts, all of the system graphics. The entire look of the game is vastly different. I did a video on it. I did a peep show on Uplink OS, which is the name of the mod that I played, and along with just making everything more readable, making things more accessible, giving you keyboard shortcuts for some things to access your apps and stuff, and giving you a better visual on how certain networks and stuff are laid out in game, they also added just real basic functionality like, hey, it makes sense that I can right click and select delete to delete log files and to delete files, or to right click and copy something to a memory bank without having to drag files all over the screen with all of these extra fucking clicks and commands. I think there's something to be said for that original format, because I think that there was a very interesting something that they were going for there with that gameplay loop, and how you interfaced with all of the hacking and everything, and why they made it so arduous. But I think that Uplink OS makes all of that just much more palatable in 2021. So I got to play through this game that I liked a whole lot, but it was a little harder to recommend because so many parts of it are esoteric and maybe just really inconvenient for people to fart around with. I could see how somebody would just get really annoyed trying to play around with that original game and how it controls. So if I say hey, here's this $5 game you can go play. Also, here's this cool front end you can throw on it and make it look really cool. And it makes things way easier to navigate. It feels like they kind of balanced the game around, maybe they sped up some of the traces that get put on you when you break into a system. Since you can do things a little faster now, it feels like maybe some of those traces are a little bit faster now to kind of compensate for you being able to do things a little quicker. So it feels like they made some smart gameplay decisions, but didn't really touch the core game too much, other than making it look and feel so much more palatable now. Like when you go and look at the video that I did, you look at like that original game, it looks really rough now, but when you look at the second half of that video, everything's just so much more slick. Like things kind of unfold and like everything is in a sensible place, and it's just kind of just makes it way more easier to play now. So getting to play that game again was just really rad with this new coat of paint and with new eyes, and it just being like, oh, it doesn't have to be as arduous as I remember it being. And it hit just as much as it did the first time. Like, I really enjoyed, getting into these little puzzle box hacks and kind of like, okay, how do I have to bring down this entire land system? And like they get really complicated, and you start to get sweaty. It makes you sweat, because this is a game where you fuck up and don't cover your tracks, you're gonna get caught, you get disavowed, and your file gets retired. Like, it's done. So
wait, is it permadeath?
Yes, it's permadeath.
Oh,
like, if you get disavowed, it's over.
Huh.
I think that like there's a storyline here. Like, the game does eventually like break from you just doing all of these random hacks for people and just like coming in. Like, you eventually break into a branching storyline where there are like two separate paths you can take. It's basically good hacker, bad hacker, and they're both good. So whichever one you end up on, like, don't worry about it too much. Just play it out. The only thing I wish is that like they got to that a little sooner, because it takes like a month of in-game time for you to get to that point. And they're doing that basically because they want you to have time to do all of these hacks and get your money up and build your rig. But if you know the game, like, it's easy to just I play this game, I sit down and I just think I take 15 jobs and bang them all out in 20 minutes. And then you collect your big fat rewards at the end, and then go back and cover your tracks up and stuff. But yeah, it's just a facsimile of what hacking could be in some alternate universe, and it's a really cool. It gives you the right feeling. Like, you get that cool I did it feeling when you figure shit out, or I'm in when you crack particularly hard systems and bring them down. Like, it feels real good to crash. It feels real good to log into big business systems and just crash them for the fucking fun of it. And again, just the fact that it's just like, oh, I can play this old game that I liked for a long time, and I can easily recommend it now to other people because it's so much easier to approach thanks to Uplink OS. But yeah, like, I'll probably be sending that game out as, gifts here and there to people I think that might like it, come birthdays or Christmas, now that there's an easier way to kind of interface with it, and someday people I know that might enjoy that kind of thing. So yeah, like that game's rad to kind of
cool.
Yeah, to like take something that's really old and make it fresh and spiffy and new again in a way that I was not expecting, that just completely fucking lit me up in a way that I was not expecting. It just felt real good to be playing that game again and experiencing it an entirely new and fresh set of eyes. So
I see you, John.
Completely rules.
Chronomaniac added to their wish list.
Nice. I might have another one for you to add, so go ahead and keep your wish list open, John.
Absolutely.
I played another hacking game. It's called Hacknet.
I think I know. Yep.
Yeah, this one's called Hacknet. It's another hacking game. This one's focused a lot more on story from the jump, though. There's no, like, roguelike systems in this game. There's no, like, computer building aspects. Like, you just take on hacking jobs and go. There is a game over state where you have to kind of rescue yourself from a game over state. But I don't think that the game over state is permanent, even if you fail to rescue yourself. But it's just kind of like there's a fail-safe thing. You counter hack your ISP and do some fun stuff there if you get caught.
Nice.
It's a real cool setup. So like, let me know if you've heard this setup before. So you get an email from someone and they're dead.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that's kind of like the initial premise you get, is somebody sends you an email and a program and they're like, look, I'm dead, and I need somebody out there to fucking take care of this for me. And you're the lucky person that got it. So I guess like the big difference between this and Uplink is that Hacknet really forces you from the get-go to get familiar with terminal commands rather than like Uplink is all UI stuff, and there's like you can go to like you do have access to console, but all you ever have to do in Uplink is just change directory, delete, change directory, delete, change directory, delete. Do that 3 times on any system and you'll crash it in Uplink. Whereas in Hacknet, it's going to take you through some real basic Unix commands that you'll want to commit to memory, and you can still use point and click UI for some things like navigating through file systems. Like I see no point in navigating through file systems with the command prompt unless you just kind of want to be slow and arduous about it for a reason, But they give you that. They give you access to just kind of click through folders and files at your leisure. As far as like using the command prompt, there's a very generous tab to complete. So like if you just type like the first few letters of something and press tab, it'll pop up the command that you want to use, and you can just space after that and enter whatever argument it wants. And so like it can seem real intimidating at first, but I promise you after like the first half hour, you'll immediately know like what you're doing on any system once you're in it. The hacks in Hacknet, like in Uplink, all of the hacks for the most part, except like the major story beats, they're all randomly generated. Whereas the hacks in Hacknet are more based around investigating, and like they're puzzle boxy. Like you're forensically kind of going through file systems to try and like trace logs, look for a file, open a file's file header and decrypt it and see like what other IPs that might have passed through to get to where it's at right now. And that stuff is very engaging and satisfying. And you kind of really feel like you're doing something cool, even though it's presented in this very video gamey way. The command prompt stuff and the way that everything is kind of laid out, it feels just convincing enough that you really feel like you're doing like some like fun dumb shit in computer hacking world. There's also like shit to kind of like set the mood, a lot of fun dumb jokes that kind of place this game at a certain point in time. Like I don't know if anyone here at all remembers a website called bash.org, which is basically just a repository of IRC logs, and just dumb, like the dumbest shit you can imagine. And it's like it would just get paste. It's basically a paste bin, but for complete idiocy. There's a lot of really fun shit that they've pulled from bash.org and just like they use it here, and it just credits it as archived from bash.org. And just fun things like that to read through, like reading through people's personal files and stuff. It's some real interesting shit. Like I got into like for what, like if a system had a website, I would just fuck with it for no reason, just because I could. Like, even though there's no point in doing that ever. Like, there's no point to me to go to the KFC chicken analog in this game and say that all their chicken comes from your butt. But I did it. and you can't just do this by opening a text file and then just like, using the UI to like go in and edit. You've got to actually use a lot of command prompts to do this. So I did this. And I put way too much effort into something that never fucking mattered, but it made me laugh and gave me a giggle. So I just always defaced everybody's websites.
Yes.
So yeah, like I just always had a lot of fun doing shit like that. But like it's just a game where you're getting in there, you're thinking your way through these really sometimes really tricky problems. You're using the info and tools that you have at your disposal to solve these little 5 to 20 minute missions, and like it has for a game that is like just, like I'm clicking in a UI and entering some command windows, it has some incredible set pieces that like this game is it blew me away. Like, I'll just say that there's a skill check at a certain point in this game that had me howling with how clever it was. And that the finale of this game literally had my heart pounding while I was just trying to concentrate on entering console commands as quickly and accurately as I could so I didn't fuck up the final hack. And an amazingly appropriate track is playing while you're doing this. And there's some screen effects going on at the same time. It blew me the fuck away in a way that I was not expecting. And the game has a really solid conclusion to the story that it presents in the beginning as you dig your way through all of the unrelated hacks and sort of work your way towards the truth. And when you get the kind of like the final catharsis of that and you find out what happened and what the person that was talking to you at the first of the game was trying to do and what they were into and how they got in maybe a little over their head, and like it's just really well put together. Just so, like, even if hacking stuff isn't your thing, and maybe if you bounced off of the more gamey nature of Uplink, I think Hacknet might be more up your alley because it's more forgiving, it's more focused on that thinking your way out of the situations or thinking your way through situations to get to the next logical step. It does have active traces, which are basically like, it has active traces like Uplink, which is an active trace is basically somebody knows you're in the system, and if they catch you, game over. It does have that, but the timers in this game feel way more generous. Like I know, like the only time I ever felt truly pressured was the final mission, and it makes entirely too much sense why the final mission would literally come down to the wire. So, like, two great games that have a great premises that are based on hacking. Like Uplink, kind of more of mechanically sound, mechanically driven, very gamey. Still got a good story, but if you want something a little more if you want something, I feel, maybe even a little more authentic to the experience, and something that's going to kind of get you in there, and I think getting the brain going a little more. Because, like, once you figure out how hacks work in Uplink, like, okay, I know what kind of job this is, and I know how I basically have to approach it every time. You kind of get into that kind of role with Uplink. But with Hacknet, every hack in the game is crafted, so you're doing these unique missions every time you take on a new mission. It's not just going to be the same thing every time, or it's not going to be something that feels like it's a copy of another mission that you already did. It's something that was crafted that you've got to go dig through these file systems and stuff that, like, the person that made the game had to create and made all the various computers in the game that you have to go into. So it's just, like, if you have to, like, they're two different flavors. I like them both. But, like, they're different enough that I could say, like, if you don't like one, I think the other one's going to get you. Like to my immediate friends right here on the podcast, I would say, go play Hacknet. Yeah. I think go play Hacknet.
I was definitely thinking, the story-based one is more my jam.
Yeah, like, you would probably like this a lot. And I would definitely recommend that to our immediate listening audience as well, over Uplink, just because I think Uplink can still be a little rote and a little esoteric, maybe since we do kind of gravitate more toward those narrative-focused experiences that feel a little more handcrafted and loved on. I think Hacknet is probably the better, the one that hangs, if I'm, recommending something to the Socks community.
But which did you like more?
I think Uplink being the cool roguelike thing with permadeath is very cool. It's just like, here is the very high stakes, like, mechanically focused version of this kind of story. I think that's neat. I think it's cool that there's two different games that approach things so differently for just, like, serving different needs.
Yeah, and if you want a tip for Uplink, all you got to do is make your first bounce internick. You'll know what that is once you're in game, but make your first bounce internick so you always have access to that computer's logs. You'll never get caught if you clear out that system's logs. There you go. You're welcome.
Hacker tips.
There you go. That's what everybody comes to the Sockscast for, is big old legitimate hacker tips. We got you. We got you covered.
This is just going to segue into Polly next week. Oh, actually, I'm doing a little work on the side.
Yeah, 2 great games. Had a good time with them.
Cool.
Hopefully somebody out there will as well. Hey, John, I know that you said that you were done, but we still got a bit of time here. You got anything else you want to talk about before we bounce out of here, or are we looking to just go ahead and close things out?
Sure. Like I said, I finished E7, and I thought the ending was just fucking stellar. Like, just really brought it home in a way that I wanted. There's a specific way they resolve the main emotional core of the story that had a lot more teeth than I expected, even though it's something that Falcom does all the time. But it just, the way they wrapped it up was just gutted me in a good way.
Yeah.
Final boss is dope as hell.
God damn, the final boss is so good.
I think it makes sense because that was the first party-based game where they're just like, hey, everybody's here.
Everybody's here. Let's go.
And then having the very top be just adult fighting.
Yeah.
It's
so dope.
It's so metal. Oh my god. And then the ending's just perfect. So I'm like, hey, this is there's a lot about this game that's kind of rote, but I think that they really stuck it where it counts.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a good ass game, and I'm glad I played it. Like I said, I'm playing a ton of Amori. I think Rhett's actually a little ahead of me now, but
this is probably one we're all going to be talking about in a couple of weeks, I think, because I'm probably starting this up very soon myself.
Cool. I am not going to give like any specifics. This isn't Xenogears. This matters.
It's brand new. This game came out on like Christmas.
Yeah.
Everybody missed it for a month.
Yeah, I was just so I literally got gifted that by Luis.
Yeah, Luis has kind of been the champion of this game. Like he's sent this game to like 50,000 people.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. But when somebody is that ecstatic about a video game, you kind of have to sit up and take notice. And it's just like, this already kind of looked like a jam to me. Like it already looked like a jam to me, so I was going to play it at some point anyway, but thanks to Luis, I have that opportunity now, so hopefully like with if not this cycle, it'll be the next cycle. It just kind of depends on where I'm at on big RPGs right now, because just finished East 9, got through Ryza, so I might want to do something a little lighter before I go in, but we'll see, but I know that this game is going to be definitely one we're going to be talking about at some point.
I woke up Sunday morning 2 weeks ago and was like, I actually feel pretty good after being really stressed out a bunch, and I actually feel like I could start a game. I feel like I would enjoy starting a game. After I'd been like, I can't play Ease 9, I can't play anything, I'm just suffering. Life is nothing but that. And then Sunday morning I was like, I know, and then I watched the trailer for Amori, and I was like, oh, it's one of these, huh? Oh,
it's an Earthbound. It's an Earthbound. Every indie game is a Dark Souls or an Earthbound, and this is an Earthbound.
It's an Earthbound. I like those. I remember Undertale. I like those. I like my mother's. It's a Yume Nikki Mother, the RPG Maker thing. And I was like, and I suddenly realized that like 10 friends had played a bunch of it, and several of them had finished it, and it had like 6,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews, and I was like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, like this
just appeared.
I knew when this game came out because I knew the graphics. Like, I had seen this game around, but I had not heard anybody talk about it. And then suddenly, over the course of, I feel, what was like a week, it was when Luis started talking about it. It was just like literally 20 people on my timeline playing and finishing this secret game that they had and weren't telling anybody.
Secret game.
secret game. And it's like Undertale, where the creator is actually like a very large media figure in a sense, where like Toby had all of those ex-Homestuck connections.
Yeah.
Omocat has a fucking fashion line in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
With a pretty big internet presence. So it's not one of those out of nowhere things, but it is like
it's out of nowhere in a sense that I had no fucking idea what it was, and suddenly everybody knows what it is. Like, I knew when Undertale came out. That was the talk of the day when that game came out. Omori came out, and I saw it, and I thought nothing of it. And then, all of a sudden, there was this week that was just like, 50 people you know have been playing this secret video game.
Do you know the gif of the lady who with the big hair who's like looking at the screen, and she's just like okay, and clicks.
Yeah.
It's like okay. I was like that, where I was like Sunday morning, like I have the whole day to myself. I want to play a video game. I could start Ys 9, or I could play the mother thing. I was just like, and then I started it, and then I played it for 7 hours.
That's good. That's
like basically in a row. Yeah, it's a pretty good start. And then I put it back down because I finished Xenogears.
Yeah.
Because I like played Xenogears at lunch the next day, and I was like, oh fuck yeah.
All right, this is really good too.
And then I played the rest, and it was also and now I'm back on that kick. And I think the one thing I want to say, because I got Rhett complaining, and I was like, yeah, I kind of expected a little bit of that. This is not Undertale pacing, where it's like 4 hours, Undertale one-shot pacing, where it is like 4 hours of punching.
No, this is a 30-hour game.
Yeah, this is a JRPG.
Yeah, this is a 20 to 30 hour.
Yeah. That's why I'm giving myself a couple days to see, like, is this what I want to be right now after having just done Ryza and Ys 9? Or do we want to do something a little lighter, just to kind of palate cleanse?
And my overwhelming takeaway from it so far, I'm about 13 hours in, is that it just feels unbelievably skillful and intentionally crafted. I'm feeling very good, feeling very optimistic about how it's going, about the quality of its resolutions, about how it's going to wind down. It's also just very pretty and snappy.
Oh god, yeah, the visuals in this game, they make me happy.
And it seems to have some meat and teeth to it, which is what I want in addition to this.
Yeah.
I would definitely go into this expecting something more like Mother 3 than something like Undertale.
Yeah.
Because this kind of snapped into focus, like how different Undertale is from Mother, because this is a lot more like Mother.
Yeah.
And I like Mother a lot, so that's really cool. So yeah, I think this is a good time. I'm really excited to finish it.
Fantastic.
There's one more segment. Go ahead, Rhett.
I'm having this moment of right now of realizing, oh right, you can just play Undertale like a JRPG and fight enemies.
Yeah, you could do that.
You can, but like for me, the majority of that game is like actually weird pseudo shmup where you're dodging stuff.
Where you're dodging things.
So it's a very different thing than that.
Yeah.
Where it's just, hey, you're picking commands from a menu to fight enemies.
Did you have any thoughts with Omori Red? I know you played a chunk of it.
Yeah, I'm actually probably further than you. I just looked at your achievements. It was like, oh, I missed some stuff, huh? there's a lot of variety and like kind of side stuff hidden up off the main course. But yeah, I like it so far. I'm kind of seeing how it lands for sure. Yep.
That's one big thing you get that you don't get in Undertale is massive, lovingly crafted maps full of little weird shit.
Yeah,
because Undertale is way more of a VN basically.
Yeah,
this is
for sure.
This is Map City.
Yeah, Undertale is just like here's the adventure path.
Yeah.
Yep. I have one other thing I think could be fun, and it's a spin-off of my RTP Nut Gallery segment, because I went through the Xenogears OST.
Oh, geez.
You looked up some YouTube comments.
Uh-oh.
And some of them are goofy. Some of them are just beautifully sincere. And I want to share some.
Okay.
Under Distant Promise. This was under multiple ones. It just quotes Citan's whole line of, music is a mysterious thing. Sometimes it makes people remember things they do not expect. Many thoughts, feelings, memories, things almost forgotten, regardless of whether the listener desires to remember or not. Just very sincere post for RPG soundtracks.
Very.
Ancient Dance of Ave. I love this one. This one is nice. I love this one so much. You don't hear very much music in video games that sound quite like this, even today. This game is old, Xenogears scare quotes, but it keeps my heart young, or so I'd like to think anyway. The upbeat tempo and all the instruments, period. Perfect happy festival song, period. Perfect city song for Ave, period. This one just makes me so happy.
Aww.
That's really nice. The themes, because, and then 15 line breaks. We are men! 15 line breaks.
Oh! The sea!
The story of Kim and Emeralda, one of the most forgotten and heartbreaking stories of Xenogears. Mm-hmm. Correct. Someone posted under infiltration, underneath the rotting fascist anti-gravitational god reviving base. And then it's like, yep, accurate. And then underneath that, someone replied, is it fascist? Communist? Question mark.
Oh,
is
no.
There any difference?
Oh,
no. And then this one, which is just fucking... Oh, this one is nice. The song is called Intangible Treasure, and someone wrote, the intangible treasure is Xenogears itself.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. This one, no fucking clue. That's what the devil said, period. The apple must not have been cleaned with any pesticides and was thus full of bacteria, which when eaten curse the body, the humans with body-decaying bacteria and germs. It's been a parasitic relationship ever since. I don't think this is a Xenogears quote. I think this is just someone with their weird...
I think someone's having a rant or a chuny moment.
Uh-huh.
Someone's tuning out in the comments.
The best one. No, the best one, of course. Such a peaceful song. I have no clue what this game is about, though. And then 3 comments replying, it's better to experience it than to be told about it. Go check out Xenogears on PS1. And then someone says, it's about a planetary invasion weapon system, achieving sentience and opening a space-time portal to a higher dimension, then trapping a beam from there in its systems and attempting to go rampant, taking over the colony ship in which it's contained. The captain presses the self-destruct button and the wreckage crashes into the alien planet below. 10,000 years later, the game happens. In other words, you really, really need to play it. And then the masterpiece. The best one. Bro, comma. You should play this game. Is the best history in a game ever made. The best history in glorious. This game is the best history in a game ever made, and the soundtrack is glorious, comma, the game called Xenogears.
The game called Xenogears! YouTube comments are a trip and a half.
June in the comments, the soundtrack is glorious. The game called Xenogears, one better be in. Yep.
Yeah.
I found it.
The game, indeed, called Xenogears.
That's it. I'm not going to go into it. Not going to be in the Xeno haze any longer.
All right. We'll save that for when you get into Xenosaga. We won't be able to talk about Xenosaga soundtrack much because there's like 3 songs.
Because there isn't one.
Xenosaga's got no soundtrack. They were going for something in that game, and it didn't quite land.
Oh,
presentation wise.
I thought it had the good Yuki Kaijira soundtrack.
No, that's 2 and 3.
That's 2 and 3.
Oh no!
Yeah, episode 1, you have these fucking dungeons and areas you're in, and there's just no music at all. It's just, you hear the hum of engines and, like, space sounds.
Oh no.
There is one battle theme.
There's one battle theme used for the entire game.
If it ever gets remastered, I'll just put on the Monica soundtrack.
Yep, composed by Yasunori Mitsuda on his day off. There's good cutscene music in Xenosaga Episode 1, but you don't... Despite the fact that that game is 90% cutscenes, you don't hear it a lot. I love Xenosaga, I swear. I love those games, I swear.
I'm excited to make money on that bet because that friend was like, "You're not gonna like this game."
Was it Thomas the Jetstorm 4 that made that bet?
No, Tom made the exact opposite thing. He was like, "Oh man, John just made money."
Okay.
I was like,
okay.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too because it's like, oh cool, somebody else I can talk about Xenosaga with finally after almost 20 years.
The Titanic screen cap. It's been 70 years.
That's when the game will... That's how long the remaster is going to take.
That's when the remaster is going to finally hit.
That's funny.
I'll be able to give one final thumbs up on my deathbed as they're announcing it. Oh, God. Good video games. Good video games.
Good video games.
All right, are we good?
Life is good.
Are we happy with this? Are we good? Are we happy with the mark that we've left on the world with this episode of the Sockscast?
I feel like the world is a concretely better place because we talked about video games for 3 hours.
Yeah, I think you're right. we gave Xenogears that shine that it never gets. We did a good job here today. There was good work done.
Good work done. I feel like I see a lot more nerds my age standing FF8 and Chrono Cross. I feel like Xenogears, there's something that got lost along the way.
Yeah.
I just don't understand FF8 lovers. I'm sorry.
I don't get it. I just don't. Somebody tells me that is a great love story.
Squall.
I literally want to spit in their eye. I can't. I don't get it.
I like Squall. I don't feel a thing for Renoa. If I liked Renoa, then I would be completely on board. But I only care about Squall's journey.
She just feels like a big nothing to me. She's such a void. Yeah. She is where good characterization goes to die.
It's like that difference where I was like, hey, we got Ellie, who actually feels like maybe written like that difference of like, does the character feel to be just a man's idea of girlfriend or actual person? Yeah. Sorry, Renoa.
Gonna be interesting.
Your dog thing is... I like shooting your dog. That's fun. Sorry, shooting your dog. Not killing a dog.
Not the good
how she fires her dog like a missile.
Yes, that is exactly what John Thayer meant when he said that he loves the part where he gets to shoot the dog. Of course. How else?
Wrap it up.
Get out of here before John tries to torpedo this shit anymore.
No turn done.
All right, folks, thanks for coming out. Thanks for listening. We, of course, always appreciate it. John Dyer, before we press that stop recording button, tell the fine internet folks at home where they can find you.
farawaytimes.itch.io.
And
I did a really nice stream with... No. I did a really nice stream with Raven.
Oh, yes! The Facets stream.
Raven streamed my game Facets, and then afterwards we talked for like 2 hours about the game, and it was really, really nice.
Aww.
It made me feel really warm and good.
Cool. I also did a stream with the developer of The Cherry Orchard, which is a fun visual novel retelling of a very old play. It's very well done. She had a lot of great things to say about it. Some of it hit way harder than I thought it would. She literally made this game thinking she was dying. So she thought that this was her last thing on Earth that she was going to be able to do. She got COVID last year and then had a heart attack. Thought she was going to literally fucking die. That's why she made this game. So that was one of those good stories to come out of that stream we did. That's on my YouTube channel, PolyS and PS, if you want to see that. Or you can just go play the game yourself, because it's actually really good. It's a really good retelling. I like it. Rhett!
Got that one on my high priority list.
God, it's weird trying to make a joke after that. You can find me. I would say watch Symphogear. It's a substitute for playing Xenogears.
Oh, man. Man! I can't even say you're wrong because they literally end the same way. Shit! And you can find...
Wild Arms Dev, my time to shine.
Yeah.
Finally. My answer to Xenogears.
My answer to Xenogears all these years later.
Symphogears.
Sympho Saga. We're getting Sympho Saga.
Oh, God. Hey, if they're in space now, I'm down for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would probably be pretty cool.
In space, no one can hear you sing.
That's my favorite part! I love this series already! You can find me, of course, at this dumb website, wherever the fuck you get this garbage. Why do you listen to this trash? And remember, we are the podcast that loves you. We are the only ones.
What, John dropped already?
Sirens.
He's just like fucking out here.
All them sirens.
Isn't that on your side?
That's my end.
Yeah.
We're the podcast that loves you. We're the only ones that love you. And that'll do it! I'm going to find a host and get you all out of here now. So let's see who is streaming. Who be streaming? Who's streaming the video games on twitch.tv on a Sunday night? Who would do that? Who fucking streams on a Sunday?
I can't believe I literally opened a tab and dropped out right during the sign.
That's
right
perfect.
at the end. I was like, wow,
so
John's
funny.
just like,
John's just fucking done. Like, I'm out. Fuck you
Nope.
people. Okay. So, it looks like... I think. Everybody go request bad songs for Toad. I'm sending you over to Toad22484. Go request Faith by Limp Bizkit. He'll love it. It'll be great. So I'm going to send you all on over there. Be sure to say hi and all that fun stuff. And we will catch you next time. Stick around for that raid. Later, everybody!